fun.
This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. JList.com, they have their August snack boxes available, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff in here for you guys. They have Frito-Lay Cheetos Kansai Dashi soy sauce flavor, for those of you that just love tasting weird flavored chips. Morinaga Ishigaki Island pineapple flavor. New Komeda coffee candy. Dole Kobutsu gummy banana flavor. 16 snacks in all inside the snack box, and you get a $5 coupon to JList when you buy a snack box, so you can enjoy your snacks while you watch your favorite anime. That's a good idea. Also, this podcast is brought to you by the Otaku Box. The Otaku Box is the only anime loot crate that lets you vote on what anime you'll get in your box, so there's no more guessing or gambling with your boxes. And with exclusive items and artwork as well, this is one of the most unique anime loot crates you'll find. Check it out at theotakubox.com, and please use the promo code AAA by clicking the I have a coupon button at checkout to get 10% off your order. That way, they'll know that we're the one that sent you. Again, that's the promo code AAA at theotakubox.com.
やっほーみんなアニメアディクツアノニマスのライブブロードキャスト聞かないと泣いちゃうよ You are listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 430th podcast episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Wherever you're listening from, whatever you're doing, whether you're commuting in your car, you know, that's a lot of you, whether you're just trying to make your workday more bearable, or maybe you're just, taking a shower while you listen to us, thank you for tuning in. I love having you guys join us today. I am your host, Mitsugi, and I am joined by a man who has a brain full of soccer, a.k.a. football. His name's Enzo, and he's living the life up in Brooklyn. How are you?
I am living a good... I'm exhausted today, but because of good reasons. Because I hung out with friends last night, and then the World Cup ended today, which is sad, but great, and I'm so happy that we got to all watch it together. I'm glad that a lot of people were into it this year, and just happy to be here today, man.
I love it. Yes, I love it.
What's up? What's up?
And, of course, we have Enzo's 1-2 skip a few neighbor to the west, Mandy, who often wakes up with a ferret on her face. How are you, Mandy?
Dude, you're not actually wrong about that.
I know.
He actually wakes me up sometimes by licking my face. But hello.
It's adorable.
A ferret little mlem.
Ferret
Yep.
tongue.
Mm-hmm. Two of them, actually, because I have two of them.
Double mlem action.
All right, what's everybody drinking for this episode?
Water.
I have a lot of water next to me.
I have a raspberry sparkling water with a 5-hour energy poured into it. So I'm ready to go. Let's do this. If you want to find
I
us,
had my coffee before this.
Oh, well. Let's just we're all hyped up, aren't we? We're all jacked up on stimulants. That's how this podcast has kept going for 9 years. I'm going to go get one of my cat's insulin syringes, fill it with 5-hour energy, and stab that sucker into my neck. What do you say?
Damn.
How about we just try and get a coffee sponsor instead?
We should do that.
Oh my god, can we?
Boss Coffee or Wanda Coffee.
Oh my god.
They can take a silhouette of my
coffee.
They can use a silhouette of my bald head, just like Tommy Lee Jones, for the front of the can. It'll be perfect. Right?
Wow.
Think about it.
Get back this.
Yeah,
Get on it, Boss Coffee. All right, if you want to
Boss Coffee, please.
If you want to visit our website and join the Anime Addicts, you can do it at our website, www.AAAPodcast.com/join, where you can hear us do our hentai episodes. We have an interesting hentai episode today. We're going to bring a real-life police officer onto the podcast for the hentai episode, and he's going to tell sexy cop stories, which
oh my god,
which is something that you would only find on Howard Stern, but I am delivering it to you in a hentai episode later today. So again, that's
that content, baby.
That's right. AAAPodcast.com/join. We're gonna peel the curtain back and find out what really happens with law enforcement. We just we just did a Hobby Addicts on the World Cup. If you want to listen to that, and of course we do our after parties as well. So, I have a new initiative that I want people to think about. So we're way ahead of any of the other anime podcasts in terms of reviews on iTunes. I think we've established that by now. But somehow there are still podcasts, including podcasts that have been inactive for years, that are ahead of us on the iTunes search results, and I find that frustrating. So I would like people to make sure that if you're listening to this podcast, that you go on iTunes and you subscribe to the podcast. And I think that would really help our search results. So that would make me happy. So that's the new mission. So I'm being greedy. Yes, we still want reviews, but now we want subscriptions as well. So we're being greedy here, and I'm sorry for that. But
yeah, the subs actually make a huge difference in this. I think that's like the one statistic people actually look at first,
right,
when you look at a podcast to see how good it is. So a sub would be super, super awesome. It's super easy to do.
And
you could sub and put a little smile on my face.
There you go. And if you and if we can crack this and become number one, I will make a subscribe song and do a dance for you and sing it myself. So,
can you do it in boxers?
I will do it any way you want. Anyway,
excellent. All right, boys.
In boxers, covered with chocolate. I mean, anything. It could be anything.
Boys and girls, get on that sub button. I need to make this man dance.
First, get us that MeUndies sponsor, and then do the dance.
There you go. This is possible. So, all right. So on this episode, we're going to be doing some fun stuff. We're going to be talking about the best of Japanese food, which was suggested by many people, including Maliz, Otakucop, and Piper from the forum. So from the Discord, rather. So
the Discord. Oh my God! Don't date yourself, my guy.
I know, right? So on the Discord, which, by the way, you should be joining the Discord if you haven't joined it already. You can actually. I'm now putting a direct link to the invite for the Discord in the show notes for every podcast release. So you no longer even have to go to our website. You just open up the description and just click the link on your phone, and you're done. You're automatically in all the hotness.
Damn.
So
making your damn life easy, baby.
Stay in the flames, okay? You want to stay in the flames. So and then we're gonna do a review on Violet Evergarden, which is a Netflix Kyoto animation property, which could not be more beautiful. It is eyeball melting. So looking forward to all that, and so we got a good show for you guys. Anything else, my friends, before we kick it off and head into a journey of unknown proportions?
No, hit me with those unknown proportions, dude. Let's go.
It's time for big news of the week.
All right. Amid the horrible flooding crisis that is spread across Western Japan, the anime industry is giving aid, and I think that's cute. So for those of you that are in the dark about this somehow, terrible rainfall has caused massive flooding and mudslides and landslides all across Western Japan. The last time we did a podcast episode, I mentioned this. The death toll was only like 50. Now it's over 200. And
no, that's not what I wanted to hear.
Many missing as well. So it's bad.
That's really sad.
It's bad and it's awful. However, the anime industry is doing what they can. Psy Games, which is the company that has their fingers in anime, because they were involved in Rage of Bahamut, Grand Blue Fantasy, and more, have donated $222,000 to help fund rescue and repair efforts. So I think that's kind of nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
We gotta get the One Piece guy to donate another 10 million.
Yeah, right.
10 million.
Hey, can you spare another 10 million, please?
That guy gives 10 million away like I go down the street and buy a cheeseburger. So.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
I wonder what that feels like. But yeah, this is awesome to hear because the thing was like anime creators, like, you know, like they're in Japan. It's the country that allows them to do what they do. So it's always nice to hear that they're giving back as much as they can.
Yeah, and a lot of people live in that Kansai area. You know, we were down there.
For sure. We were down there?
We were in Osaka and Kobe. Both Osaka, Kobe, and Osaka and Kyoto are definitely Kansai.
Yes. Sorry.
And so it was on a ramen high. He forgot everything.
That all blurred together for me. Just.
And so, as a quick aside, if you and I ever find ourselves in Japan again, and I think whether it be through the Olympics or through another podcast Japan trip, I believe this will happen. we are definitely going to the ramen museum in Yokohama next time.
Yeah, and we're gonna just stay there for like 6 hours.
Yeah, we're gonna literally eat like 10 bowls of ramen. There's like 55 ramen restaurants inside that museum, and it's epic.
I still want to go to that place where you fish up your own food.
I know where that is.
Whoa.
That's in Shinjuku. Let's do it.
Awesome.
That is a done deal for sure.
Right.
The freshest
God,
fish.
we get so excited talking about potential trips to Japan.
Well, what we're excited to talk about is food, which is what this podcast episode is about.
This is gonna be torture. I haven't eaten yet.
Well, you should eat you should munch some food at the news break. Also, many manga creators are taking to Twitter to post original artwork that are lending support to lift the spirits of those that are affected by the disaster, including the manga creator Koji Seo, who created Fuka, Ahiru no Sora manga creator Takeshi Hinata, Hajime no Ippo's creator George Morikawa, Fairy Tales Hiro Mashima, Kanojo Okarishimasu creator Reiji Miyajima, Area no Kishi author Kaya Tsukiyama, and many others as well. There were a ton of them. So the artwork is pretty cute. It's very like heartwarming and uplifting. So if you want to go post some happy comments, or maybe even reply with your own artwork to support Japan or whatever it is, or maybe even donating a little bit of money to the Red Cross. Like I'm sure Red Cross in Japan is probably collecting money to help just what is probably going to be. I wonder,
do they have anywhere you can buy like these original artworks?
I don't know, but
like maybe prints of them.
I found this article on Anime News Network, so you can find it on there, and you may be able to trace through the internet.
Yeah, I wonder if they're selling them for like to help out.
That would be a smart idea. So, and I know that the Red Cross, it's probably going to be $1 billion or more that are needed to do probably well more than $1 billion that will be needed to repair everything, but every little bit counts. So, all right, well that's sad, but let's move on to happier things. How about that?
Yeah, please.
Prepare for trouble!
Make it double!
Shut up! You haven't had one useful thing to say since you got here!
My Hero Academia is getting a game that will launch in the West on October 26th.
Okay.
Normally I wouldn't care about, but it's My Hero Academia, so it's pretty big news.
It's
a Bandai Namco Entertainment game. It's going to be an arena fighter, so probably not unlike the types of games that you got from Persona Arena or whatever, and like a Street Fighter type of game,
or like DBZ, like the Tenkaichi games.
Yeah, it's gonna be on pretty much everything: Xbox, PS4, Switch, and PC. Again, it's coming out on October 26th. There are going to be some pre-order perks, early access to playable characters, including Endeavor. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know any of these characters, but I assume you guys do.
Wait, this is dope as hell. I'm looking at this little trailer thing, and it's really cool looking.
Yeah. 2 other playable additions have been announced. All Might and Deku's teacher, the retired Gran Torino, is getting into the action, and also there's a villain called Muscular who's going to be in it. So
wow.
I wonder if it's going to be like Smash, because Smash is the big arena fighter. So I wonder if it's going to be similar to that.
It looks more like the DBZ fighter. Yeah, there's a video in the link that Mitz put. There's a trailer of how like the fighting looks, and it looks like the old Tenkaichi games that were on the PS2, but with more 360 fighting though. It's not fully 2D.
Okay, I see now.
Yeah, it's 360 arena fighting, so that's cool.
Is this a game that you guys feel like you might buy, or is this just something you're gonna look at because it's shiny and then
I personally have not bought any fighting games in a long time because that's just not my style anymore.
I suck at them.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
I don't. Well, speak for yourself, boys. But I'm not too shabby at them. Okay. Okay. But I just like. All right. Real talk. I just play Overwatch. Okay.
At least he's honest.
Hilarious. Hey.
Like that when they hit somebody, it's like wham, like the sort of
the
like
comic book text.
Yeah, that looks cool as shit.
Did you get your diamond rank or whatever you wanted?
Dude, I don't want to talk about. I was 2 games away from being diamond, and then I lost and I'm stuck at fucking 2800 SR, which is still really good for a Mercy main, but like, fuck. Anyway,
oh boy,
that's it.
We hit a.
I'll be honest, I'm not like a massive fan of My Hero Academia. I just think it's okay, but I would still play this. This looks like fun.
Yeah,
I play this with a group of people on the Discord if they want to.
I would play it. I mean, I already have a list of games that haven't come out yet that are going to take up the next half a year probably for me. I mean, one of them is Divinity 2, so I might as well just handcuff myself to my couch and just surrender
Never
my life.
leave for like the
Ain't doing
next
shit.
3 weeks.
But I also think, in all honesty, after watching the Resident Evil 2 remake trailer a few times, I think that's going to be a Game of the Year contender for next year. And it's absolutely just, my mind is blown by it. The graphics alone are just stunning. I don't even know how to. Everybody should go watch that trailer if you're a Resident Evil fan. That's cool. Well, I'm sure a lot of people will probably be playing this, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's a small little community of people on the Discord that are, fighting each other and stuff like that.
I was about to say, like, we could settle the disputes on Discord this way. Like, you know what? Just 1v1 me and 1v1 me in My Hero Academia, dude.
There's gonna be like a low-key fight club fighting ring. People are gonna be
no one talks
betting
about
money.
Fight Club though, but
Right.
we have a gambling circle.
Yeah, a gambling circle in the Discord. Hey, the AAA podcast gambling ring. So bring it on, people. I'm not participating. I will. Chiaki used to whoop my ass routinely at Soul Calibur. I am not playing that. I am not getting into that again. But you guys have fun beating up on each other. So,
that sounds great.
Shall we move on again?
Yes.
It's time for hot new anime releases.
Biggest news on the podcast is right here. This probably could have been at the top of the show, but it is a hot new release technically. The Gundam franchise is getting a Hollywood live-action film in the fall.
That's ridiculous.
You're not even gonna have to wait. It's like 3 months away.
Wait, no way.
Yes, it is. Live-action Gundam film.
Wait, what?
Made by Legendary Pictures and Sunrise. It's a collaboration between the two of them. It's the first ever live-action take on Gundam. It will premiere in the fall. Now, I didn't write down what year, so maybe I should click this link and make sure that it's coming out this year. But it's coming out in the fall, either this year or next year. We'll confirm that. Legendary Pictures has sort of been dipping their fingers into a lot of stuff that's anime related. They did Pacific Rim, which means that they have experience with giant Gundam, with giant robot stuff already. They did Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Detective Pikachu, and also another Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, which hasn't come out yet.
It's not I'm not super surprised that Legendary is doing that. Legendary has always had their toes in nerdy shit. They are the owners of the most visited geek channels, Geek and Sundry and Nerdist. They own those two entities, so they're not averse to dipping their toes in nerdy stuff. So this is probably going to be the one they have to prove themselves on, though.
Who's gonna star in it? Do we know?
You have to click the link and read through the article. I'm still trying to confirm what year it came out in. Probably someone in the chat has already found it and has already answered the question. But I don't know that matters. The question I'm asking, the question that I wanted to ask, and I asked the Gundam people, and they said listen to it on their podcast, is the Gundam community is very very intense, right? Gundam has a longer history than almost anything, and it's been more prolific than pretty much anything. And I could see the Gundam people having a lot of apprehension about the fact that there's, for the first time ever, a live-action movie being made, because, nobody wants to have their biggest passion, their favorite franchise, ruined by a crappy movie. A lot of the same way that that Dragon Ball Z fans grimaced in pain when they watched Dragon Ball Evolution because of how horrible it was.
Oh my god, let's not speak that movie title again. So,
I know that neither of you are hardcore Gundam fans, and I was kind of hoping I could get some feedback in real time from the Gundam people to hear what they had to say. But what are your thoughts on this generally? And while you answer, I'm going to look up the date.
So because of the recent Star Wars movies and the level of CG that we can achieve, I can take away the Star Wars plot. Imagine all those ships, the way they are in space. Because to me, iconic Gundam scenes to me are when there's a million ships shooting at each other, and then there's 5 Gundams fighting in between all of that. Like that to me is like quintessential like Gundam action. And like I think we have the ships shooting down. I think that's something that we have down that can look good. Of course, the one thing that I'm extremely worried about, aside from like the writing, is like how are you gonna make Gundams look good? You know?
Well, Sunrise is
like,
helping them. They're involved, which is good. It's a damn good thing that they are, you know. But
yeah, that is a good thing. But I'm talking more like I don't want to see a shitty CG Gundam. It's gonna piss me off. You know?
Did you see Ready Player One?
Yes.
There was a Gundam in there.
That looked pretty cool.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, but it looked cool in the aesthetic context of Ready Player One. It's gonna depend on like how they wanna, like, what kind of aesthetic they're gonna portray in this movie. Because if they go for an aesthetic like Star Wars, the Gundam in Ready Player One doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah. So like, if they go for like a you know, like a Saving Private Ryan aesthetic in space, but Gundam, like that Ready Player One Gundam doesn't fit. They would have to have like a more like a Gundam that has more texture on it. It's not as smooth. So I'd have to know what the fuck the aesthetic is gonna be, or like what the story is gonna be like. But it does make me nervous though, because like Gundam is Gundam. I'm not the biggest Gundam head, but like Gundam is huge. It's very important. It's very important.
Very important. Oh,
they can't fuck this one up. You know,
One
like
of
this
the
is the one. Don't fuck this one up.
So I did find an article that says 2018. So it's coming soon.
Holy shit.
So
I need to find out.
That's weird because I can't find anything on it.
I need to find out when the production started then, because if this is produced in under a year, I'm scared.
Link posted in the in the thingy so you can read it. Also,
I just want to know.
Feel free to post that link in the chat.
Sure.
Also, it says 2018 will see Gundam finally make a live-action Hollywood debut, albeit indirectly in Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Ready Player One. Blah 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 blah. Oh, okay, I didn't read enough, so I still don't know, I guess, but it's coming. But the question really isn't like I said, the release date really isn't important. The important thing is, you know, how do people feel about Gundam and what are their hopes and dreams for it?
Yeah.
All I can say is, as a friend of the Gundam at MAHQ podcast, those are all really nice guys. I recommend that you keep your eyes peeled for their podcast, because Gundam is all they talk about. So they'll have a lot of insights about it, I'm sure. And I've seen pretty much everything that is Gundam, which is remarkable because there's so much of it.
I mean, the potential is there. Like, the potential for a fucking amazing sci-fi mech movie live action is there. Like, you can make a really great movie with this.
You could.
It just has to look good. It just has to look good, and the writing has to be good too.
Think about.
Can they put The Rock in it?
I love The Rock.
I would
do that.
if
I'll watch
yeah.
the shit
Well,
out of it.
well, they do a storyline like
Jesus.
not G Gundam. Like if they do a storyline like Gundam Wing, like it's, you know, Gundam pilots from around the world, then yeah, why not?
I hope there's a lot of like political intrigue and a lot of scenes that take place on like the bridge of ships. That's the kind of shit that I love.
That's the kind of shit I want. I want like command centers and like we attack this way. You know, some Legend of Galactic Heroes shit.
Yeah, like the way that they do it in Crest of the Stars and stuff. There's a lot of military strategy going on. A lot of you know, the captain barking orders at people that are doing different functions on the bridge and whatnot. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
All right, well,
for now, I'm excited at the idea.
Yeah,
for now.
I mean, I'm definitely going to see it. I don't know a ton about Gundam, but I'm sure that the movie isn't going to require you to know a lot about Gundam. Otherwise, it would be an epic failure. So
It's just going to be another Transformers.
Well, if it is, it'll make a shitload of money and have lots of explosions. There's another anime that was announced for the fall 2018, Zombieland Saga, an original TV anime. It's going to be done by 3 different groups. The animation will be done by Studio Mappa, Avex Pictures, and Psy Games. And it is, quote, a new twist on the zombie genre, coming out in October 2018. I watched the trailer. It had literally no anime in it. It was all just like very dark and eerie scenery. But it looked very not.
Whoa.
Like you think about
starring Woody Harrelson.
That would be hilarious. You think about High School of the Dead, right? And this didn't seem like that kind of an anime. This looked like a lot more of a serious zombie show, which is something that I don't know that we've had yet. So at least
So this trailer looks like The Walking Dead meets anime. Like environment wise.
and if
like,
it was, how would you feel about that?
I'm not against this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against this. If you bring me mature overtones of The Walking Dead and then put an anime flair on top with like good animation and like good characters and like cool zombie scenes, yeah.
What a
I'm
weird
in.
trailer. It didn't show you anything.
Anything.
No, nothing.
It was all aesthetic. That's all is an aesthetic trailer. That's it. That's interesting that they went that route. Maybe they're saving the zombie designs for the anime.
Well, could be. I mean, there's probably going to be stuff since it's coming out in only 3 months. Next season, literally. I mean, you're going to start seeing some stuff come out for it pretty soon.
Yeah, what do you think the twist is? Because
I don't know.
as Bcom says in the YouTube chat, like I feel like there's not many new things you could do with the zombie genre.
Well,
like
It's
what,
kind of played out.
If you get bit, you turn into a lowly zombie.
They're probably
Don't
going to be
get
like big busty zombies that, lure men in with their sexual bodies and then bite them and turn them into zombies.
Damn.
I did not see that in the trailer at all.
Well, you never know.
Well, you really never know. You really never know with
don't.
animes. You really don't.
Maybe there'll be
I feel
zombie
like
horse
somewhere
girls.
we added something.
It'll be zombie horse girls. Yeah. Or maybe
Watch that.
maybe a NEET is going to leave his house and brave the world because he needs to collect all the different body parts of a moe zombie girl to reassemble her and make the girl of his dreams.
Can we get zombie idols?
What?
God, no, please.
No.
I'd watch the shit out of that, please. Their name is Dead Sexy.
What, Mandy? You
Ghouls Gone Wild.
I can feel your brain working at.
Oh shit!
Just no. Please, God. Ghouls
Okay.
Gone
Your
Wild.
brain just kicking, just like. Her first single's like, "We are zombies. We are zombies."
Oh my
Hey.
God. Are we excited for this?
Listen for
I
what we
mean, I'm
have so
nothing in
far.
right now.
I'm in, I guess.
He's
I'm
in,
not
he
against
says.
the anime zombie thing.
All right.
The bar is High School of the Dead, so do your best.
I liked High School of the Dead. I mean, it was at least
Yeah,
fun. I mean, it was
yeah,
dumb
that's what
as
I'm
shit,
saying.
but it was fun.
but it's not a really high bar. It's
No,
a good.
hell no.
It's good for what it was, but it's not a high bar to beat.
I'll
so.
say it again. I don't understand why there hasn't been another High School of the Dead anime. I think it would be an obvious hit. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever.
Shouts out to
Stop this.
shouts out to the boob scene. The bullet between the boobs. Like,
Yes.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
like
my God.
ridiculous. God,
All right, good
but yeah,
lord.
I'm in so far. I'm in.
All right, good. Trivia. The answer this week was Kaon. This is the last round of trivia for this month. The correct answers, not very many people got this. There were a lot of incorrect answers, actually, which doesn't usually happen. Kung Pao, Golden Jedi Link, one Ironaut, Outlaw Monster, Chibi Rob, 4 Stick Man, Manly Mudkip, Hugs for Drugs. Jesus. Chocolate. This one sounds bad too, but I don't know why. Chocolate P9. I don't know what a P9 is, but Nelly 1876, Midnight Crow, the Viva La JD, and that bearded guy. All got it right. Enzo's broken. Oh God.
Do hugs for drugs.
Oh, man. All right, hugs for drugs. Okay, the winner for the week was Chibi Rob. So good job, Chibi Rob. But the winner for the month is Icy Rose.
Dude, Chibi Rob wins all the time.
すごいです。
I think he's cheating.
Yo,
Maybe
he
it
hacked
is
us.
cheating.
He hacked us
He
for damn
is-
sure.
He is just image searching it on Google.
Oh,
I'm
call him
on
out.
you. I'm on you.
Call him out.
Well, we no longer have a professional Google reverse image search ninja to prevent that from happening. So, but if you start doing that, I will eliminate the trivia. So let's not do that. I have created a new category for next month. Oh, by the way, congratulations, to Icy Rose. Let's just play another drop for him.
ありがとう先輩
Just random drops. So the next theme is anime food, and it's up because this is episodes about Japanese food. So the thing is up on the website already, so you can go hit that up.
Nice.
All right. Which one of you two beautifuls wants to do the intro trivia question?
Mandy does.
Oh, thanks. Alrighty, our in-show weekly trivia question, which we'll answer after the break, is what unusual color is the hair of the main character in the anime Slam Dunk?
I'm enjoying Slam Dunk. I'm watching that right now.
I might join you on that rewatch, dude.
It's pretty nice.
I remember loving that fucking show.
All right, guys, and when we come back, we're gonna have Mandy's Manga Minute. I just realized I haven't been moving the thing down the board, which is continued failure on my part. If this was my job, like for real, I would have been fired.
I put so much work into those two.
God,
I'm just kidding.
I'm so sorry. All right, and then we're gonna be talking Japanese food, and of course later, Violet Evergarden. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll be back in a minute.
Cool.
Bye.
Hey, all you anime friends out there, it's Mitsugi, and it's time for your anime news break. Leading us off today, we have more from Stan Lee. Stan Lee had previously filed a $1 billion lawsuit against POW Entertainment for using his name without his permission on social media platforms. He claimed that the company stole his identity and was making posts on social media without his approval, and we had discussed this on the podcast previously. Well, Stan Lee has decided to drop his $1 billion lawsuit against POW Entertainment. Lee commented that he is, quote, thrilled to put the lawsuit behind him and continue to work with POW Entertainment. He described the lawsuit as, quote, confusing to everybody, including myself and the fans. And me also, because I don't know how a $1 billion lawsuit can just vanish. It's either a massive transgression or it isn't. But it looks like Stan Lee's looking forward to working on additional projects with POW Entertainment, so at least we'll have more of that in the future. Next up, manga creator Osamu Tezuka definitely put out tons of manga, including a bunch that weren't ever released and are being discovered in desk drawers and all kinds of places. And lately, the publisher Beat Tosha is the latest to gather a bunch of Tezuka's works. This time they're collecting the works of Dust 18 into a single 400-page book. The sci-fi manga was originally in Weekly Shonen magazine way back in the 70s. The story takes place after a plane crash into the side of a mountain that is revealed to be the origin of human life. The majority of the plane's passengers die in the crash, except for one lucky 18-year-old person who is saved by the power of the mountain. Their luck runs out as enemies from another world arrive to kill those that were supposed to die in the crash. So, if you're a fan of Tezuka, it looks like they're going to release this work in some capacity, so look out for that coming out in the future. Next up, well, Hello Kitty and Sanrio have been doing collaborations with all kinds of different anime properties in the last few years, including Fullmetal Alchemist and Yuri on Ice. However, now they are going to be doing a very unlikely partnership. Pop Team Epic is going to be collaborating with Hello Kitty to put out t-shirts and other merchandise that will be available at Comiket 94, which is next month. There's a t-shirt of the little twin stars from Sanrio holding Papuko back from attacking the Takeshobo building, which is a gag in Pop Team Epic. And if you're interested in Pop Team Epic or Hello Kitty, this is definitely going to be some kind of a limited release item that'll be only at Comiket, so you might want to peel your eyes for that one, both online and at the actual event itself. And lastly, Funimation has announced that they are going to be doing some screenings of Cowboy Bebop Knocking on Heaven's Door, which is the Cowboy Bebop film. It is going to be showing on August 15th with English subtitles and August 16th as an English dub. The film originally opened in Japan in 2001 and screened in the US way back in 2002 and 2003. So if you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop and you missed out on the first time this was airing, well, now you have another opportunity. Maybe you want to look out maybe on the Funimation website to see where exactly this is going to be airing. This is Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. Now, time to get back to that podcast.
Hey, Mandy, you look troubled. What's wrong?
Butts.
Excuse me?
It's all of these anime boy buds. There's just so many of them. I can't decide what's my favorite. I've tried to categorize them by firmness, bounciness, rotundness.
Okay. 2 things. First, you may need some serious help. Second, why don't you go look at the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast website?
Can that help me get to the bottom of this?
Stop. You know, puns are my thing, right? Also, no, it won't help you with that at all. You are beyond help. But on our website, you can find all our past shows, along with reviews and trivia. Sign up today, and you'll have access to our Hobby Addicts and Hentai episodes.
Hentai episodes? So I can hear other people review butts for me?
Sure. I guess if you want to look at it that way.
Now that's something I can get behind.
Cheeky.
Hey, Steve Bloom here, voice of Spike Spiegel, Vincent Valentine, Leron from Gurren Lagann, Guillermo from Digimon, and a bunch of other crap. And I am a total anime addict, dude. Tune in, or else.
All right, guys, and welcome back to the 430th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. I hope everybody had a good, refreshing break.
Dude, this is a jam. What the fuck?
Do you like this?
Yes. Holy shit.
Oh, we got all new music, baby.
Whoa,
I went on a
good
tear
stuff,
last week,
man. Damn.
All right. So, what is this in-show trivia question?
I believe the question was that we asked before the break. It is, what unusual color is the hair of the main character of the anime Slam Dunk?
Orange juice.
I thought it was red, but I guess I
thought
remember
it was red too.
Well, it looks orange in the anime, but
it does look orange in the anime.
He gets made fun of a lot too. They call him like clown face and shit all because his hair is so like bright colored.
It's ridiculous, but hey, it makes him pretty swag though.
It's a swag.
It's a swag.
How are you hearing this song anyway? You listening to it on the feed?
Yeah, I have the whenever we go on break, I have the YouTube stream open because I like hearing the news break. I actually like the news break you do a lot.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, the news break's the most labor-intensive part of the show, so.
Well, here you go.
Might as well
validation for you,
I appreciate
baby.
that.
Yes.
But it's not the best part of the show because that's probably Mandy's Manga Minute.
Yes.
It seems to be generating. Mandy has, no joke. Mandy has some fans out there.
Dude,
I have run into probably 5 people this week alone that have told me like, "Hey, don't say anything. I'm kind of embarrassed, but like, I'm kind of Mandy's fan."
Aww.
And I was like, "What about my fans?" Like, no fans.
Mandy actually has a cult though.
Oh,
I do have a mini cult.
Yeah, you do have a.
No, we all just became really good friends though.
Yeah, but that's what a cult leader would say.
Oh, okay.
Nothing nefarious is happening here. Move along.
No, move along.
All right. Well, on that note, are we ready for Mandy's Manga Minute?
Yes, please educate me.
Wow. All right, let's do it.
I'm ready.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
It's manga time.
Am I good?
You're
Am I good to go? Okay. So, Mandy's Manga Minute is where I take a minute to tell you about a manga that you may or may not have heard of, and hopefully help you find something new to read. This one is actually pretty popular, but because we're reading it for Manga Club, I thought I'd go ahead and shout it out. So, this week we are doing Oyasumi Punpun. Punpun Onodera is a normal 11-year-old boy living in Japan, hopelessly idealistic and romantic. Punpun begins to see his life take a subtle but nonetheless startling turn to the adult when he meets the new girl in his class, Aiko Tanaka. It is then that the quiet boy learns just how fickle maintaining a relationship can be, and the surmounting difficulties of transitioning from a naive boyhood to a convoluted adulthood. When his father assaults his mother one night, Poon Poon realizes another thing. Those whom he looked up to were not as impressive as he once thought. As his problems increase, Poon Poon's once shy demeanor turns into a voluntary reclusiveness. Rather than curing him of his problems and conflicting emotions, this merely intensifies them, sending him down the dark path of maturity in this grim coming-of-age saga. Oyasumi Poon Poon is a psychological drama by Inio Asano. He's been really popular in the manga world lately because his artwork is fantastic, and he has some very harsh and startling stories that I think a lot of people weren't expecting, and they're very, very adult. But it originally published in March of 2007 and is 13 volumes long. It received a jury recommendation at the 13th Japan Media Arts Festival Awards in 2009, and it currently has a 9 on my anime list with over 44,000 votes. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but for manga, that's, unless you're shonen, that's a lot of votes. I think like Monster only has like 20,000.
How dare they?
Yeah, it's like, that's really high for manga, and it's ranked number 5 overall. The series also printed in English by Viz Signature in 7 omnibus, like these big omnibus volumes. They're like really, really nice and big books. The series definitely comes like with a few trigger warnings. It's very adult content. I wouldn't recommend reading it in like a public area if you're afraid of somebody like looking over your shoulder, like on a train or something. But the series follows Poon Poon from childhood all the way up to adulthood, and it's a very grim and dark outlook on growing up like in a bad household. The manga serves as like a sort of unreliable narrator with Poon Poon, and with him and like all of his immediate family being depicted as simple drawings in a world that is packed with like amazing details. Inio Asano has like a unique art style where he incorporates photography into his work. So Poon Poon and the rest of his family definitely stands out. And I wouldn't recommend the series to those who are weak of heart because it's very, very depressing. It reminds you that sometimes people do not always come from happy homes. Life events can really shape and alter a person's personality and morality. And sometimes life just really sucks. But even though you may will most likely hate every single character, there's still a lot to unpack and discuss in this manga. So I'm really looking forward to our manga club on it. It's very fascinating, and I really think it's like a work of art. But yeah, the discussion takes place Wednesday 25th on our Discord. So you could join our Discord and check out our manga club channel.
There you go.
And hopefully join us in the discussion.
And I've been doing watch parties for Crest of the Stars. We're on episode 8. We're getting towards the end of Crest of the Stars, which it seems like most people have seen. A lot of people have seen Crest of the Stars. Not as many as I would like, because I think it's an outer space masterpiece. But not many have seen Banner of the Stars, which we're gonna roll right into. So if you've seen Crest but haven't seen Banner, jump on the Discord and you can join our watch parties. We pretty much do them late at night, so it's been fun. All right, so thank you for that, Mandy. It's always
no problem.
Yeah, that was nice.
I love
my nose and like lungs are so stuffed up today, so I'm like having difficulties talking. So if that sounded weird, I apologize.
That sounded fine to me.
Just don't die on us.
I will try my bestest.
All right, so best of Japanese food. Oh God, there's so much of it, and
I'm so afraid of this topic.
Why?
Because I'm so hungry.
You just don't eat your fingers or something.
For that reason.
So
let's get it over with. Oh my God.
Life is cruel. There's so much Japanese food to be had, and so much to be eaten, and none of it is around me. In Florida, I have nothing good. Everything I have sucks. It's bad. But I will get to go to New York, and I will be having all of the ramens. So
yes, and some sweets.
And some sweets. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I broke this into 3 sections: sweet, savory, and our favorites, post favorites.
Okay.
So why don't we just channel your inner Japan trip experiences, and let's talk about the sweets in Japan that we like. What do you guys think?
So my brain immediately goes to when we were walking out of Fushimi Inari, right? Was it Fushimi Inari? I forgot where we were. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were walking back from Fushimi Inari to a train station. Or it might have been Miyajima. I don't remember, but we were walking back, and there was a cart of a husband and a wife making taiyaki, like fresh. You guys remember this?
So, I do remember that.
So
I got the custard one.
Yeah, they were making custard and red bean and Nutella taiyaki.
That's
and
unusual.
they made it literally right in front of me, and that Nutella taiyaki was
it's all
so
hot.
good.
They make it. It's all
so
hot and gooey.
Oh my god, so good. I ate two. I ate one in front of them, and I was like, I'll have another. Give me another one and ate it right in front of them again.
So was
you
it
got
like,
two of them?
Yes, of course.
Nice.
Was it a literal cart or was it a storefront?
A cart.
Okay, because Miyajima pretty much only has storefronts. So it was definitely Fushimi Inari because there is some stuff like
Wasn't it after we visited Kyoani?
Kyoani's right next to Fushimi Inari. So that's
it was that time frame. It was that part of the week.
It was probably
for
Fushimi Inari. So because I remember Kyoani was less than impressive, like the building.
Yeah.
It's like you mean the best animation, the best looking anime period came out of this crappy building. But
yeah.
Whatever.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah. So it's for sweets. So sweets wise, taiyaki is probably something that my brain goes to because of how sweet that memory is to me.
Oh.
Yeah. So what about you guys? Like what like when the phrase Japanese sweets comes to mind, like what does your brain go to?
Well, to me it goes to Crazy Crepes.
Crazy Crepes.
So Crazy Crepes is this chain of like crepe shops in Japan. You'll see them in Akiba and you'll see them in Ikebukuro and you'll see them in various places where there's a lot of foot traffic. And it's not just a touristy thing, like Japanese people do it too. And you watch them make these you have to look it up online to see the pictures, but so crepes in Japan aren't like crepes that you would get anywhere else probably. So they're not like these folded up things you eat with a fork and knife, right? So what they do is they lay the batter out on this hot cooktop, and then they spin the batter around in a circle with this instrument, and it makes this super paper thin flat crepe, right? And then they fill it with whatever ingredients you want. So there's usually 40 or so different varieties of crepe you can get, but they all have a combination of just a handful of ingredients. It's like whipped cream, strawberries, bananas, chocolate, kiwi, just some basic things. And what they do is they just immaculately insert the ingredients into this crepe. So like if it has cream in it, and it usually does, it's real cream too. You can tell the difference. And then they roll it up almost into like a waffle cone shape. And then they hand it to you, and it's just like this almost like a waffle cone shaped crepe ice cream cone full of cream and strawberries.
Perfect.
And the best part about it is watching them make it and just smelling it as they make it. And then if you're in Akiba, you're literally walking around like in this fantasy land of anime with this amazing crepe dessert and just like licking the fresh cream off the top of it. And it's just amazing to have that kind of a food experience in such a great place like Akiba. So that and I seem to get one every time I go to Akiba every single time. So that's what I think about pretty much.
Yeah, I had a crepe when we were walking in Osaka. I think we were walking through like one of the major, like the bigger streets that had like all the lights and stuff. I forgot what it's called, but like it started with an S.
Was that after we did the Spa World?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I was with you. That's the exact same. That's the exact same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. We both got crepes, and and this is not a Japanese thing, but I just love that. Like, of course, Japan would have this. Is that when in the container thing that they give you for the crepe, you can like rip off parts of it as you keep eating it, so you don't have to like drag it out of this. Because like sometimes like they put it inside this cardboard sleeve, and then the sleeve you can't break it. Well, you can, but like there's no like, it's not. What's the word? Perforated.
With little holes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There's not perforated, so you can't do it easily. So it's annoying, but like of course Japan has like the most efficient way to eat this fucking thing, which is like you eat the top, you rip some of the cardboard off, you eat more, you rip some more, you eat the rest, and it's clean and it's so just
you don't get anything on you. It doesn't melt.
It just makes sense.
It doesn't melt. It's just it's so incredible. And they're not even expensive, right? They're like 400 yen.
No, I mine was stuffed too. Mine was like Nutella, banana, and peanut butter, and all this dumb shit. Oh, so good.
I think that taiyaki is the only sweet thing I had in Japan that entire time. Like
wow.
I don't know, but I do remember in
fix this.
Akiba they had Magikarp shaped taiyaki.
Oh shit!
Oh really? Shit, I missed out on
that. This wasn't in Japan, but there's a bakery by where my sister used to live. That's like run by a little Japanese couple, and they sell red bean donuts, and they're amazing. It's just like these little donuts with red bean sauce inside of them, and it has like sugar on top of them. It's really good, very sweet. But
there's a whole bunch of different types of taiyaki. So I've had red bean taiyaki, which is the classic, right? Red bean is. It's so weird when you tell an American person, "Oh, this has red bean in it." They look at you like you're out of your mind, and I'm like,
"That's my mom."
I'm like, "Red bean is a dessert. It's sweeter than anything you've ever eaten. It's like pure sugar." Yeah. But whatever. Red bean.
That's my mom. She's always like, red bean. Ew, I don't like beans in my sweets. And I was like, Mom, vanilla is from a bean.
Ooh, let her know.
Her mind.
Let her
She's
know.
Like, what?
There you go. Case solved. Your argument is invalid. Mandy wins. Fatality.
Fatality.
Flawless victory. Yeah, so you get the red bean taiyaki, which is the classic. But then sometimes you'll see them with almost like a chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
And then you'll see
I've
them
seen that.
sometimes with a
custard.
Custard.
Yeah,
like a vanilla-ish custard.
Super fucking good, man.
It's super good. And I've seen other ones as well that are like another vanilla sort of flavor, but it has like a, and it's another kind of bean that's sweet, but it's white. I can't remember the name of the bean, but it's also pretty good. But
there is like an international market near me that has food from all over the world. Like it's a massive store, and they have taiyaki there with ice cream inside of it, like vanilla ice cream.
I wonder, dude, I would love a mochi ice cream. Oh my god. A mochi taiyaki dessert. Mitsugi, on the topic of taiyaki, I mentioned this on a Hobby X before, I think, but I've talked to you about the triathlon I do.
Yes, and we're doing it
in New York. So in New York, there's a shop called Taiyaki NYC. It's becoming more and more and more known and famous. There's lines out the fucking door most of the time nowadays. But there they have business. They have custard or red bean taiyaki, and then but they leave the fish mouth open so that they can put ice cream on top.
Oh
I've
shit.
seen those. Those look so good.
So I took a whole bunch of the mods there when they were here with me last. I'm gonna take Mitsugi when he visits me in August.
Hell yeah.
And
so
my combo that I get now, dude, is I get the custard taiyaki with mochi and black salt ice cream. Dude, it's so good.
Black salt ice cream?
I forget, black pepper ice cream or something. I don't know, some flavor that I didn't think I would ever like, but it's all really good. So taiyaki is like super up there for me in Japanese sweets.
So how would you like to own a business like that? Where your whole business is, I make taiyaki. You know, it's probably super high margin because you're buying the same 3 or 4 ingredients in huge quantities, and you're so popular that you have a line out the door all day. Well, how would it be to own a business like that? Life can't be better.
Dude, life cannot be better,
it
man.
Couldn't be sweeter.
I always tell myself, like, oh, nice one. I always tell myself, if I wasn't drenched and drowning in student debt, I would love to open just a small shop. That's all I want, man. I just want a social job, which is like owning a restaurant or something. But it's always in the back of my mind. Like once I clear my student loans, I'm drastically changing careers. I'm gonna probably open up a shop somewhere for something.
Enzo's ramen shop.
Ooh.
Enzo's way ahead of the game in terms of life. I think you have so much time and possibility to have a business like that. Maybe you might have to leave New York City, maybe not, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Be more affordable elsewhere.
This store by me also sells frozen castella cakes. Those are really good.
Oh, fuck. I'm so hungry.
So you didn't get anything on the break?
No, I didn't. The YouTube chat is with me. There's so many people going like, oh my god, I'm so hungry now.
Another thing that you see in anime that is a real thing, actually, is parfaits. Parfaits in Japan are massive and elaborate. And there is a place in Ikebukuro that we walked past about 90 times called Milky Way.
I remember that.
It's right on the corner by the station. That place has some nice parfaits that are not unreasonably priced, and they're exactly what you see in anime. Like when you see an anime, when you're watching an anime and like a little girl is eating a parfait that looks like she'd probably get diabetes for sure after eating it because it's bigger than she is. That is a real thing. Like that exists. You may have to spend $20 to get the giant one, but that is a real thing. It's gonna have ice cream, maybe like a melon soda in it, bananas, graham cracker type things, just anything like crazy types of fruit. Which fruit for us is like, oh, whatever, but like to them, fruit is a big deal because it's so expensive, and that's a real thing. Like if you're a person that goes to Japan because you want to experience like the anime life, whatever. There are a lot of things in anime that aren't real, but the parfaits are real. That is a legit thing. They're exactly what you expect, and it's so not disappointing. So
you know what else is real? Mr. Donut.
Oh yes, Mr. Donut's really real. That's super, super, super real. It's so real that I want it right now.
I'm gonna go get. While you guys are talking about Mr. Donut, I'm gonna go get a plate that I won from Mr. Donut while I was living there. Hold on a second.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? Cool. I think I ate at Milky Way that he's talking about. I think at the time they had horoscope themed parfaits.
Of course.
And obviously me being interested in that shit for whatever reason, I went in and got the Virgo one, and that's
awesome.
It was huge.
I didn't get any parfaits there. I wish I had.
Yeah, I'm surprised you said that you didn't get as many sweets. I literally made it a point to basically wherever we went or whatever restaurant we went to, I just ordered like one of everything. So if there was like a dessert menu, a drink menu, and a food and appetizer menu, I got one of everything.
All right,
So show me this plate.
So I'm gonna hold it up. I'm gonna hold it up for the chat. Now, the thing that first of all, Mr. Donut owned Dunkin' Donuts for a long time. Dunkin' Donuts is actually a Japanese company.
I didn't know that.
At least it was. So like that's why the coloring and the branding for Dunkin' Donuts and Mr. Donut look almost the same. They're the same colors, pink and orange and whatnot. So there's a very famous donut at Mr. Donut called the pon de ringu. It's like the pon. I don't know what pon means. Pon. I think pon is like a ball maybe, but it's like a ring. It's basically a ring-shaped donut that is made out of little round balls. Think of like donut holes that are fused into a ring shape.
Right.
But they're chewier. So like they almost taste like they have a little bit of gelatin in them. Like they're a little bit chewy, which is nice. It's really good. Really nice consistency. And you can rip them off and eat it in pieces, which is awesome. So, and one of the mascots for Mr. Donut is this lion called Pon de Lion. And
Pon de Lion?
Rather than having like the lion's mane around his head, they make his mane look like a Pon de Ringu donut. So I'm going to hold this up for the chat if I can figure out how to get... There we go. So it says, the top of the plate says, it's donut time. And it has the Pon de Ringu lion. There we go. Now you can see it. And it says, for the 50th anniversary of Mr. Donut. And I had to eat... I shit you not, I ate 50 donuts for this damn plate.
Fuck off, no way.
I swear to God, over the course of a month,
50?
Over the course of a month, you had to do it in 1 month. And since I lived there, and I was teaching at schools that were near a Mr. Donut, I would go down there during my breaks and just get a donut, and just, they're cheap. They're like 60 cents a piece. And so you get a donut and you get like a stamp on your card or whatever. And Japan does this a lot. They'll do these events where you have to buy like 7-Eleven will be like, oh, you have to buy 20 pieces of bread or whatever, 20 different bread-related items, and then you'll get like some, I don't know, like a Didakuma. I have a Didakuma plate too that I won from 7-Eleven, but this Pon de Ringu lion is especially special to me because the amount of like sugar I had to ingest to get it, and it's so cute. So
the
Mr.
line
Donut
is
is
super
great.
Cute. That line, that mascot is so kawaii. Like,
he is kawaii.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Kawaii.
No.
The other thing in Japan that
Lovely.
kicks the shit out of the United States that we like, for me, I think Mr. Donut beats the crap out of Dunkin' Donuts. But
Okay.
for me, also, Baskin and Robbins in Japan crushes the hell out of Baskin Robbins in the United States. It isn't even. It is.
That makes sense to me somehow.
It is not close. When you order a sundae or something in America, they just kind of slop it all in there. You know, they're like, oh, just haphazardly throw the ice cream in, then we'll just squirt some random like chocolate sauce or whatnot. In Japan, I swear to God, I've watched them. If you order a parfait from Baskin Robbins in Japan, they even use little tweezers to perfectly place the different shit all over your sundae. It's like they're making art. I'm not even kidding.
Dude.
Not only that, they have flavors that are more fun. So my favorite flavor at Baskin Robbins is called Popping Shower, and it's been the number one. I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it has been a long time. It's been the number one flavor in Japan for years. They do a survey every year, and they have like rankings at Baskin Robbins, and they will rank their ice cream flavors, and they'll even have them on like things you can pick up before you order, so you can see what the favorite flavors are. And Popping Shower is always number one. It doesn't taste super interesting. It's almost a vanilla flavor, but it has pop rocks in it that are multicolored, and they're like really powerful pop rocks. So when you're eating it, it has a nice flavor, but it's also like popping in your mouth, thus the name Popping Shower. And it's really fun. And that's a flavor I've never seen anywhere else. That's a Japan flavor only, Popping Shower.
I don't eat ice cream often. How is Baskin Robbins like compared to like Cold Stone?
It's different. So Baskin Robbins doesn't mix the ice cream with the toppings in front of you. So that's the attraction to Cold Stone. Cold Stone, you go and you say like, I want a Reese's sundae. So they take Reese's cups and they chop it in front of you, and then they mix that into like the ice cream flavor you picked. Taste wise, I think they taste just,
they're both good.
Like they're both good.
I don't have Baskin Robbins anywhere near me. Like I know what it is. I don't think I've ever been there.
My favorite Baskin Robbins flavor is apple pie a la mode, because that shit is good as hell. That is good.
It's also not that surprising that Baskin Robbins is in Japan, because I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of stores that would have Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins together, so there's some kind of an affiliation there. But the thing about Baskin Robbins that's unique is that in Japan at least, they actually always have 31 flavors in the store. So there's just a huge breadth of flavors you can get. So.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like you can, and my favorite thing to do is just get like a big waffle cone, just get 3 scoops of the 3 different flavors and just get in there. Good times.
Does anybody else have any more desserts they want to talk about? We have so much savory to discuss.
I do I see you listed here. I do want to talk about mochi. Mochi to me is so satisfying.
Oh, it's good.
Especially when it's really nice and cold, but not cold where it's frozen, but cold where like it's just cold and like you can still bite through it really easily.
Yep.
Mochi is how do you describe mochi? Mochi is like a
pounded rice.
Yep. It's rice, and they pound the shit out of it until it turns into like a jelly almost.
Yes, exactly that. I love matcha mochi. That's my favorite mochi.
Ice cream mochi is really good.
Yeah. I also love ice cream mochi too. It's when I get ramen here in New York, if the dessert menu has the option for green tea mochi or whatever matcha mochi, I always get it.
Because for it.
After a nice bowl of like hot ramen, it is so satisfying to finish your beer. You put that beer glass down and you just bite into a cold ice cream little mochi bite. Oh, it's so good.
I'm checking the temperature. I'm checking the temperature of St. Petersburg, Florida, in my phone because I really want to go get ramen now after this damn podcast. But if it's 500 damn degrees outside, I'm not gonna.
Sakura flavored mochi is really good too.
Ooh, sakura flavor. Okay, I'll talk about this. Isn't in the sweet. Maybe we could use my little example right now to transition. But something that was really cool in Japan was sakura flavored soda.
Oh yeah, Pepsi's doing that.
Yeah, like it was just it might have been Coca-Cola. It's probably Coca-Cola, but it was cherry blossom flavored. That shit was really tasty. I remember having a weird moment when I first tasted it, and then everyone kept asking like, "What's it taste like? What's it taste like?" And I was like, "It tastes like that moment when you just folded your clean laundry," and everyone was so taken aback, and they were like, "How do you find that good?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it tastes fantastic." It made me really happy.
You're cute. That moment when you fold your laundry.
It
I don't really fold my
tastes like
laundry.
a moment. It tastes like that moment. I don't know.
I don't fold my laundry. Workout clothes, pajamas, socks, and underwear just get thrown into a drawer randomly. Everything else gets hung on hangers. So
I feel that.
yeah, I hate.
I don't have a
laundry.
big enough. I don't have a big enough closet anymore. Otherwise, I would do that.
I hate laundry. All right, savory. Let's transition. I think I always say Japan has 5 foods, and that's about all. I don't know. I don't even know if I can remember them all, but I know there's 5. One of them is noodles, particularly ramen. Curry is one of them. All the variety of dons that you'll have, which is like oyako,
those are my
don.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rice bowls, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Then there's like tempura foods, and then there are like hamburgers and shabu shabu. That's pretty much like the 5 foods. That covers practically everything. But
it kind of does, yeah.
It really does. It's
aside from sushi. You didn't mention sushi.
That's true. Sushi, I might have mixed 2 together, and sushi should be in there. But let's start with the noodles. Like there's ramen, there's udon, there's somen, there's soba. So
yeah,
do we have like obviously my favorite is ramen, without a doubt.
Hardcore, like in its own league of category of favorite.
But Enzo, before we gush about ramen and how much we love it and want to bathe in ramen and want to like just I want to the day that I die I want to be laying in a bathtub of ramen.
Boil my body in broth.
Yes, and eat me.
Boil my body in broth and take a bite, baby.
What is Mandy's favorite types of noodles? Because I don't want to dominate the conversation too hard. Maybe Mandy's...
I don't eat noodles very often. Like
that's what?
I don't like. I like ramen, and if I went like with a friend to a ramen shop, I would get it. But I would probably get other food over ramen. I'm not a crazy like noodle person.
Listen, I understand. I'll listen. I'll admit that sometimes like I go to just like a Japanese restaurant that like is primarily a ramen shop, and I'll get like katsu curry instead because that's just what I'm feeling that day. But 95 out of 100 times I am at a ramen shop to slurp on some shit. So.
But that Ebi something udon that we got at that one store at that one, dude. You know what I'm talking about? That store that we went to. That was
one
good.
Udon shop we went to like 3 times at Ikebukuro. Yes. So udon to me is it's I mean I love it. But for some reason I associate udon with like bolder toppings. So if I want to eat like kind of heavy and not just like and
very
not really
heavy.
care. Yeah, if I want to eat like kind of heavy but still want like the noodle broth feel, I go udon because ramen's more like satisfying to my soul than like, oh, that sounded so shitty to say. It's more satisfying to my soul than to like really making me full. I eat a lot, so one bowl of ramen doesn't really like fill me up usually.
See, that's my problem. I barely eat.
Yeah. So I usually like whenever I order ramen, I definitely get like a onigiri or like some tempura shit to like fill me because ramen is just satisfying. It doesn't really fill me up. But udon, for those guys out there that don't know, is it is a noodle soup, but it's way thicker noodle.
Oh, it's the heaviest noodle I think you'll ever find.
Yeah, the noodles are super thick. Like
they're very thick.
You probably only get like 30 noodles in your bowl.
Oh, dude, there's no way. It's way less than that.
Yeah,
because they're really long too.
Actually,
it's probably more like 15. Actually, I would say.
Yeah, you probably get 15 really long, thick noodles in your soup. And on top of that, most of the time when you get toppings on udon, they're like big chunks of shit. So like I like karage udon with, like fried shrimp, this fried chicken with this karage, and then like it's just like little like chunks of like fried chicken on top of the noodles.
Yeah, that's what I got at that one store that we went to. I got it had like fried shrimp and there was an egg in there and really, really thick noodles. It was really good though.
Yeah, so like I get udon very rarely, but I know what I want. It's when like a restaurant doesn't have a lot of like side dishes that I want, and I'm really, really hungry. So like I will sacrifice the ramen to get the udon with like an extra topping, and then that'll fill me up for sure because the noodles are so thick. and the toppings, like I said, are usually like chunkier. It's like a chunkier bowl of noodles for sure.
You know what? I do like yakisoba though, because it has more like kind of spaghetti type noodles.
For sure.
Chicken yakisoba is really good.
Yeah, and that's we had and Mitsugi diligently had soba listed next or on this list. And yeah, soba, I correct me if I'm wrong, soba it's not a soup.
No,
right?
Not usually. It's usually cold too.
Right. It's cold, and you eat it on a plate, and they're very thin noodles. They're not as thin as like angel hair pasta, but
it's like spaghetti, I think.
They're also much healthier. It's like the healthiest noodle, like because it's buckwheat.
Yes, 100%.
It's a lot of fiber.
I've had like black bean soba a lot in my life. Pretty sure. Tastes super fucking good. Yeah.
Soba though is like, and when you get soba noodles, usually there's a substantial number of side items that come with it because the noodles themselves they're very thin and they're not very heavy. So like if you were just to eat a bowl of soba, it would be unbelievably unsatisfying. So there tends to be
not for me.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's good. So like usually they'll give you like a bowl of soup that has nothing in it. And maybe it's some onions or something. And then I see people, they will pick the soba noodles up out of the little soba bowl, which oftentimes has ice in it also because they want it to be very chilled. And then I'll see people dip the soba into the soup and then eat it, which is just how they do it, how I've seen people do it. But usually there's like some kind of sides like rice or a plate of tempura vegetables and shrimp, which is very common. And it's really good. I like it a lot. Another one is...
I'm not familiar with somen.
Somen, I've never had, and I think you only eat it during holidays mostly. That's the one you see in anime where they like put the noodles in like the wooden slide and then they catch it through the... Have you seen that? Where they like... through the running water? That's somen. And
I think that's last episode, second season of March Comes in Like a Lion. They did that.
I feel like they did it during A Place Promised in the Universe, whatever the hell. A Place Further in the Universe, they did it also. I've never had it, but I want to do it, but I've never done it before. So I'm lost in a world of ramen, you know.
Yeah, I'm deep in the ramen. Like,
what would you say is your favorite type of broth for ramen, Enzo?
Tonkatsu.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
like
a very,
it's
very well liked one.
Especially like I recently went to a shop that like promised that the broth was like soaked, like it was like marinated like in with pork bone and everything for like 20 hours. That shit is good.
God, yes.
That shit's so fucking good.
Oh my God. So I love a very garlicky ramen, but I also love there was a place near where I taught when I first lived in Japan. I can't remember the name of the place, but they had a 3 garlic ramen. That was unbelievable. It had garlic cloves in it. It had garlic, minced garlic, and garlic powder, I think, as well. And it was incredible. I mean, unbelievably delicious, and everything was on point besides that too. But man, you would stink like garlic for like hours afterwards. And,
oh man.
And like I'm fine with that because I love garlic and I'll eat it just, you know. I'll even like take a spoonful of the minced garlic out of the jar, you know, because I love it so much.
Yeah. I think I saw you do that because I think I saw you do that because we went to like a no-name shop like off the alleyway in Ikebukuro. That was actually a shop across the street from the udon shop that me and Mandy were talking about. Remember, it was like the shop. They served a very garlicky like white broth to us, Smiths.
Yes.
Yeah. And I saw you just dump shit into that broth, and I was like,
I want that garlic bad. And garlic is so good for you, by the way. Good for you.
That shit.
But for me, I also love a kimchi-based ramen. And
I have not had. I don't think I've had that.
That's a little less common, but I love kimchi a lot. And if you can find a kimchi-based ramen, I will probably try it just to see, because kimchi is such a unique, distinct flavor that is. It's Korean, but Korea and Japan have small similarities between their foods. Like they often eat kimchi in Japan also. But so I love kimchi-based ramen also, but I mean I also love the others as well. The the miso-based ramen and
I guess I'll give more detail because I thought you were just asking me like in general, but it's tonkatsu broth with spice. Like I like spice. I like spicy tonkatsu broth. That's a little thick. Like a little like you can feel like it doesn't feel like water, per se. Like it feels like it has like a viscosity to it. So that's the kind of broth I like. A really like a creamy broth that turns kind of orangey because it's spicy. That's my shit. With extra meat on top.
I don't want a thin. I don't want a thin broth.
Me neither.
To be honest, I don't. You know, I want that shit to be cloudy. I don't want to even see through it. I want to put my chopsticks into this mystery land that is the bottom of my bowl of ramen, and I don't want to know what I'm pulling out until I pull it out. I don't want to see it ahead of time. I want that broth to be so thick with spices and oil and whatnot that I can't see what's in there. And if I can see the bottom of my bowl of ramen, that's some bullshit ramen. Get that out of my face. I don't want that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like that. I like that thick mystery. You know.
You like it thick. I know. Let's move on because we can come back to ramen later. Hey, did you guys have any Hamburg steaks while we were in Japan?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Some people hate Hamburg. How do you like it?
I had it with Chiaki and a whole bunch of, I think it was like me and just like all the girls we went to.
Minus me.
No, I think you were there, Mandy. But
I didn't have Hamburg.
No, I mean, I was the only one that had Hamburg. Right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Where'd you do that? Don Quixote or not Don Quixote? Bikuri Donkey will have it.
It was one of the shops in the subway station. We ate during one of those times we had to wait like an hour for a train.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was like I'd rather have an American hamburger.
Okay, yeah. Some people don't like it. Hamburg, let me describe it real quick. Hamburg steak, they call it, is neither a steak nor a hamburger.
Correct.
It's basically, it's closer to a hamburger patty that is just chilling without a bun or anything.
Without a bun. It ain't got nothing.
So sometimes they'll put like a gravy on it, and sometimes they'll put like cheese on top of it or onions or something. But it's basically a very tender piece of ground beef that is probably like 5 or 6 ounces. And then you would just, it's so tender, you can slice it apart with your chopsticks and pull it and break it apart and eat it. I like it. That's something I'll get at a restaurant that if it's one of those like Bikuri Donkey type restaurants that just serves Hamburg and some other like basic things, I'll get the Hamburg because I want the protein, fills me up, makes me feel better, and it's not that expensive. But some people hate it. Like they hate the shit out of it. Like Cram will not eat Hamburg. He's like, give me a damn steak, and don't give me that Hamburg bullshit. I want a steak and nothing else. But for me, I'm fine with the Hamburg, you know. So, but not everybody likes that.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I just like, I would just order something else next time. Like I'm just not gonna get that again. But I didn't hate it though. There's just other things I would rather eat.
Did either of you have shabu shabu while you were in Japan?
Not in Japan, but I've had it before.
I've had it here, but not in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same.
They tend to hate foreigners at shabu shabu places because we eat way more than Japanese people do, and the prices for the all you can eat shabu shabu is like and definitely not high enough for a bunch of foreigners because you'll just eat them out of house and home, and they actually get mad. Like eventually they will sort of low key stop serving you at some of those places because.
Damn.
I mean, when you've surpassed like twice what a Japanese person would eat, they start to realize, you know, this business model doesn't really work with foreigners because their appetite is a lot bigger. They're used to eating bigger portions, and they're just gonna eat us out of. They're taking a loss on you. So
yeah, they take the L with us.
Yeah, they take the big L. So there's no P and L.
Kind of like all you can drink at karaoke.
Yeah.
Yes.
They fucked
up.
Well,
I mean, Japanese people can drink.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, but can they drink like a whole bunch of Americans in a fucking karaoke bar living their otaku dreams?
You're riding high, baby.
Because we got so fucked.
All right. Well, since
table was just covered in glasses.
Since you guys, as long as you're having a good time, since neither of you have really done shabu shabu is pretty much like where you would get like a plate of really thinly sliced beef or pork, and then you would lay it on like an open cooker, and you cook it yourself, and then you pull the pieces off and you eat it, basically. And a lot of the times it's all you can eat, but it's if you guys haven't done it, we can move on. How about curries?
I've done it here.
Yeah, do you enjoy it?
There's shabu shabu places here.
It's kind of a dumb question to ask you if you enjoy it because I feel like it's almost impossible not to. But do you enjoy it?
Yeah, Yeah, it was really good.
It's like, yes,
It
yes,
was
I hate.
also by where my sister lives. There's like this little like area. Just I don't know. It's just like every shop is run by a Japanese family, and there's like a little shabu shabu place there.
Yes, I hate having unlimited meat. Curry. Did you
Love
both
it.
were you both able to catch Koku Ichiban while we were in Japan?
Yes, the first night we went, that's when I met you guys. That's when I started talking to you guys the first time. Because we correct me if I'm wrong, we got to our hostel, right? So Airbnb. We got to the Airbnb, we left our shit, and then me, Mitz, and a couple other people went straight to Koku Ichiban to eat.
It's
right?
So
That's what happens.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It's fantastic.
That reignited my love for curry that I still have to this day since the trip. I will never say no to a katsu curry with white rice. That's classic. With especially when you get katsu curry and they definitely give you chunks of potato. I hate when I don't get chunks of potato. That makes me so.
Oh,
upset.
they will always give you that chunkiness.
Yeah, I love that shit, man. Katsu curry is one of my favorite dishes of all time.
How about you, Mandy? How did you have a chance to try the Koku Ichiban? How did you like it?
Not in Japan, no. That night when we got to our Airbnb, I passed the F out and I was gone to the world.
Enzo, we need to correct some of these things for Mandy next time we go.
I know. I don't know. Like, where was I in all this? Why did I not just drag you to get curry?
How did our girl?
Because I was dead to the world.
How did our girl miss out on on many of the sweets and the curry? That's inexcusable on our part. We need to rectify that.
Forgive us, Mandy.
Yes. Nah, I've made my own curry, but I've never had curry somewhere else, like at a restaurant.
So Koku Ichiban, for those people that don't know, it's a curry chain in Japan. It's usually frequented by businessmen who want to eat some curry really fast and then get out of there because they only have about like 8 minutes to eat because their work life sucks, or they have like 5 minutes between before like their train comes and they want to be able to eat in 5 minutes, or you can just eat there and take an hour, whatever you want to do, which is kind of my approach. But there's a huge menu of curry, and there's just an intense amount of toppings. You can get onion rings, you can get fried squid, you can get clams, you can get pork, you can get fried pork cutlets, which is katsu, you can get vegetables, you can get cheese, you can get scrambled eggs on top of your rice, which is what I do. There's like 5 pages of options, and then of course there's lots of other stuff as well. But there's also 10 levels of spiciness at Koku Ichiban. And I like spicy food, but I won't go past like a 3 because it really does get spicy. I don't know what spice they use, but it really affects me a lot. And if I got like a 5, I guarantee you I wouldn't be able to eat it. So I tend to get like a 2 or a 3. And then
I think I got 2, yeah.
And then there's always that hard ass that gets like an 8 because they want to act tough and they're probably dying inside, but they won't ever admit it.
Is it all spicy?
Didn't Kazuo get like a 10?
Kazuo doesn't even like spicy food. It was probably Mason that got the 10.
Oh, Mason probably got like a 10.
Yeah, I don't like spicy food either.
I do like spicy food, but I'll eat pepperoncinis like right out of the jar. But yeah, the spices at the curry place is really intense. But I usually get the fried pork katsu with katsu curry with the vegetables, and then I'll ask for and then I go purasu scrambled egg, and they'll scramble an egg and they'll pour it on top of your rice, and it kind of hardens onto the top of So imagine you have this amazing bed of like short grain rice with your curry, because you always have short grain rice with your curry.
Yeah.
And they'll put the egg on top of it, but they do it in such a way that you can imagine that it's almost liquefied when they put it on, but the rice is so hot that it immediately cooks it, and it takes the shape of the rice on top. So it's literally like the top of the rice is scrambled egg, and it's incredible. And I always get that because it's only like an extra 50 cents. It's like 50 cents. Yeah, it's like 50 cents extra, and I'm down. I'm always down for that. So Koku Ichiban is really good. They also make a Vermont apple curry that you can usually find at like an Asian supermarket, and the apple Vermont curry is really good. Japanese people swear by it, and if you can find that, I recommend trying it out because it's really good. How about the dons? Because this is what Mandy likes.
Yeah, these are my favorite.
So what do you like, Mandy?
My favorite is unagi don. I love eel. Eel is like one of my favorite foods in the world.
Wow.
But unagi don, katsudon are my two favorites.
Okay.
But
did you go to Katsuya while you were in Japan? That's a chain that they sell katsudon basically, and that's about it.
no, we had some at some place inside the train station. Where did we go? I know it was me, you, and there were a few other of the guys there.
It could have been on the way to the Spirited Away bathhouse because we changed many trains, but maybe not.
I don't remember. It was they get some really nice katsudon though there. But I don't remember what the name of the place was.
It's a very common food.
Mitsu, what was that chain that you took me to? Skia?
Skia. Yes, that's beef bowls. That'd be gyudon.
Yes. Oh, that's gyudo. Those aren't dons.
No, it is gyudon.
They are, right? Gyudon. Yeah, dude. That.
Oh,
was
it's
some
incredible.
Good fast food.
Oh, it's friggin' amazing.
That was some good fast food. Holy shit.
Skia is the other thing I have to eat at least like 3 times every time I go to Japan because I love it so much. That's
so good.
I mean, so the don in like gyudon, katsudon, oyako don buri, all those different dons. Don just means like a bowl, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it's just something on top of rice.
Essentially, gyu means beef, so gyudon means beef bowl, literally. And it's right. like a ton of rice with shredded beef on top of it, very thinly shredded beef, with like usually like a sauce with it and maybe some onions or something. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, the gosh, I can't talk. Unagi don is just eel, like fillets on top of rice. It has like this like sweet soy sauce over it. It's really good.
That eel sauce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite sushi rolls, just to transition a little bit to sushi. One of my favorite sushi rolls is sweet. It doesn't even have like this is like vegetarian sushi. It's sweet potato rolls because they put that sweet eel sauce on top. Oh my god!
Dude, that eel sauce is so good. The like international store near me sells bottles of it. I always buy that when I buy eel.
Oh, it's so tasty. I love sweet potato rolls
good.
with the sweet eel sauce on top.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a place near me. It's a Vietnamese shop, but they do dons as well. And it's just there's something about rice and beef and egg is just a perfect combination. Like it's so super good.
See, that's me. I'm a weirdo. I like things really simple, so just something on top of rice is perfect for me. Like there's a Japanese like restaurant near me that sells katsudon, but they also give you the option to do chicken on it, and it's really good.
Ooh. Yeah, that's some good shit. But yeah, I just remember my don experiences in Japan or gyudons at Skia because Mitz had to teach me a million times how to say like double extra beef
Chumori.
Chumori, onegai shimasu.
Sanshu no cheese gyudon chumori onegai shimasu.
Yes, exactly.
3 cheese gyudon, bitch.
Yes.
Give it to me.
I want like a triple beef with cheese, baby, on top of rice.
I want them right
Super
now.
fucking good.
For free.
I think I dumped mad hot sauce on there too. It was
I love Skia. I love going to Skia and sitting at the counter and like they kind of don't pay attention to you because they're just too busy eating their food, but I know that they wonder like, why the hell is this foreigner in here eating Skia? And it's like, because it's damn good and it's cheap. Oh, it's cheap.
Super cheap. I remember walking out being like, was that free?
Did we just eat like a beef bowl for $3? It's so good. And the food comes immediately. It takes about
instant.
It takes probably 40 seconds to get to you. That's how fast it is. It's great.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I remember specifically ordering, giving the lady our menus, me picking up the chopsticks just to like see them, and then boom, it was in front of me already. And I was like, what the fuck?
It's amazing. I love it. There's also Yoshinoya, which is the competitor of Skia, and they sell most of the same stuff, but I like Skia better. Now we have to review Violet Evergarden, and it's probably not going to be a short review. So in the interest of time, why don't we each give one of our favorite foods? It could be something we've already mentioned.
Just one?
Well,
the pressure.
I mean, we'll have a record-breaking episode length if we don't if we don't just pick one.
Mm.
You can, if you really want to, you can do two, but I'm just gonna do one. I'm gonna go first. I'm just gonna get out of the way.
Sure.
I'm gonna pick one I haven't done before. I'm gonna say Gari Gari Kun is my favorite, one of my favorite sweets. Gari Gari Kun is a Ramune flavored ice pop.
Yum.
For those of you that Ramune is a flavor that I've only seen in Japan. I don't know where else you could find it. A lot of the Ramune like sodas are the ones that have the marble on the top.
Yeah, I love them.
And a lot of candy has a Ramune flavor. And Gari Gari Kun is basically a popsicle that has like this crazy looking kid on the front of it that he kind of has like a gorilla mouth. His mouth is like super wide and he's got this huge toothy smile. And a Gari Gari Kun popsicle is like, it's literally like 40 cents. And it's just delicious. And if it's hot outside, it's amazing. Like that is life saving, honestly. In the Japan summer. And you just can't beat it for like 50 cents. It's so awesome. And Gari Gari Kun, I recommend looking. And that's an old treat in Japan, very old. So that's what I wanted to say. And of course, we already know that I love ramen. And if I get ramen, it's almost always gonna have extra eggs and pork if they do it correctly.
For sure. So I'll just do my like if this is available, this is what I get at a ramen shop, and it is I get buns. So like the other day I went to a ramen shop and they had katsu curry buns. So it was buns with pork cutlet with the curry sauce on top, which is so I eat that really quick. I'll eat that. I'll order another one if I'm really feeling myself. I'll eat 2 of those, and then I'll get my tonkotsu ramen with some spicy oil, extra egg, extra pork, and then I'll order noodles halfway through if I really need them. And then for dessert, I'll eat my mochi. I'll eat my mochi or tiramisu, which they usually have also.
Got so many favorites.
Yeah, and that is like, if I could do that every day without consequences, I would do it every day.
Without consequences.
That's my happy place for sure. Yeah.
I'll do one that we haven't mentioned. It's called Semen Ochazuke, which is like a comfort food. It's like rice, and then on top you put on top of the rice, you put shredded salmon, green onions. You could put parsley on there. You could put I think some people do ginger, but I'm not really a ginger person. And you mix it with mirin, soy sauce, and some salt, and then and you put a little bit of dashi in there, and then you pour hot green tea over it, and then you just spoon it up, and it's super good. And yeah, that and inari sushi. Inari sushi is mwah. I got it like every convenience store that we went to in Japan.
I think when we go to Zao, which I think is the name of the restaurant where they have where you catch your fish and then they cook it for you right there. Which is what you were talking about earlier. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have eel sushi you can probably get along with the fish. So, anything else, guys?
No,
nope.
I'm looking forward to this review portion.
I am friggin' hungry as hell now.
Yeah, I'm so hungry. Oh my god.
All right. Who wants to read the in-show trivia?
I can do it.
Okay, you do it then.
So our second in-show trivia, which we will answer after the break, is what is the Japanese name of the star-shaped rock candy often seen in Japan and sometimes seen in anime, including Stelvia of the Universe and Spirited Away?
All right, and when we come back, we'll have that and a review on Violet Evergarden, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, Mitsugi's back, and it's time for your anime news break. Leading us off, Nintendo of Europe has announced that Koji Miyake will be the company's new CEO and chairman, and Stephen Boll is going to be the new COO and president of the company. These changes are following the departure of Satoru Shibata, who was the president of Nintendo Europe for the past 18 years, which is a pretty big changing of the guard here at Nintendo. So Stephen Boll was previously the managing director of Nintendo of France from 2001 to 2005, and will probably do a pretty good job filling in the roles of his predecessors. So Nintendo will keep on keeping on, as most corporations do, but there has been a changing of the guard at both the CEO and COO level. Pretty big deal. Next up, we have some more Funimation news. Funimation has announced on Thursday that they have acquired the rights to screen the new Dragon Ball Super Broly film that is going to be showing in theaters in the United States and in Canada in January 2019. So this is a film that actually revolves around Broly from the Dragon Ball Super universe. The film is going to open in Japan on December 14th, and Akira Toriyama made some comments about the film. Everyone, do you know who Broly is? He appeared only in past anime films and is ridiculously powerful Saiyan. I am told I only drew his design. At that time, I was mostly uninvolved with the anime, so I completely forgot the details. Even now, it seems Broly is still very popular, not just in Japan, but overseas as well. And because of that, the supervisor suggested, why don't we make a movie about Broly this time? So it looks like a Broly film will be coming out early next year in the US and in Canada. So if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, Broly, or whatever, you're going to be able to watch this one on the big screen. So keep your eyes peeled. Next up, it looks like Dio Medea is going to be doing an anime adaptation of Kei Sasuga's domestic girlfriend manga. Mayu Uchida is going to be playing the character of Rui Tachibana, while Yoko Hikasa is going to be playing Tina Tachibana. Kodansha Comics, which licensed the manga for digital release, describes the story as being about a high schooler, Natsuo, who is hopelessly in love with his cheerful and popular teacher, Hina. However, one day at a mixer, he meets a moody girl by the name of Dewey and ends up sleeping with her. Soon after, his father announces that he's getting remarried to a woman with 2 daughters of her own, and who shows up is both Hina and Dewey. Natsuo's outrageous new life starts now. Sounds like a romance comedy with an adult flair to it, so look out for that one coming out when it does release in the future. Lastly, we're going to be wrapping up some Anime Expo news here. It looks like the Society for the Promotion of Japanese Animation, or SPJA, announced that Anime Expo hit its cap on badge sales at 110,000 badges sold for attendees. And the turnstile attendance was more than 350,000, which is just crazy. They noted that there were 524 exhibitors and 1,700 volunteers, as well as 150 guests from the industry, solidifying Anime Expo, no doubt, as the biggest anime convention in the United States, and even starting to rival Comic-Con, which is kind of crazy. So good for Anime Expo. They also have dates set for the next Anime Expo. Anime Expo 2019 will take place next July from the 4th through the 7th. So, this was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
Hey, Mitz, what's the website?
Oh, Enzo, you'll never believe this.
What? Oh, no.
JList.com is going to release a Church of Mitsugi PC game. Hello. It's called Moe Stomp Stomp Deluxe Edition.
Deluxe?
It's a turn-based RPG where you go on a quest to rid the world of Moe girls. I commissioned it from JList.
I didn't know JList.com sold anime PC games.
Oh yeah, Enzo. JList.com and Just USA are the same company. They sell hundreds of English language visual novels such as Fate Stay Night and Steins Gate, and they have adult games as well.
And Moe Stomping games.
Moe Stomping is not a game. It's life, Enzo. Life.
Right. Oh, I see. They have the new Mad Pompadour 12 Good Hair Days. Let's get that for Kazuo.
JList.com, your home for all your Moe Stomping and Pompadour game needs. Oh, and most other anime games as well.
You know me? Of course!
Welcome back to the podcast, episode 430 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Jamming out here.
Dude, what a track.
All right, we had a trivia question. What is the name of the star-shaped rock candy often seen in Japan and sometimes seen in anime, including Stelvia of the Universe and Spirited Away? Well?
Confetti.
Close.
Is that what it's called?
Conpeto.
Oh.
You were close. Conpeito. It's like, so in Spirited Away, you, like the guy who runs the boiler, the furnace, has the little soot sprites, and he feeds them candies and shit. So.
Conpeito.
Conpeito. That's an old candy. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it, really.
This looks like that sugar rock candy.
Yeah, it's rock candy in like little ball shapes with little stars.
Gotcha.
Star shapes. All right. So, welcome back to the podcast. We have a 5-star review from iTunes, so let's roll right into it.
It's time for iTunes review.
And this review comes from not Justin Golay, who writes, when you look for anime podcasts, several will pop up. But this one is the only one you need. The hosts work hard to create entertaining and thoughtful content. The chemistry between the hosts is unmatched, even among podcasts that don't cover anime. Meeting the team is literally on my bucket list. Oh my goodness.
Oh shit.
Well, not
meeting you is on my bucket list, baby.
Not Justin Golay. If we ever do another Japan trip, you should apply. So
you should submit the application and make sure you mention that I'm your favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, that will definitely get you in.
That'll definitely work. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your 5-star review, and remember, in our conquest of iTunes, subscribing is important. So it takes no effort, and if you're not subscribed, you should please do so that we can pass up the other podcasts that haven't put an episode out in like 5 years.
I want to be number 1 in the damn charts.
Well,
that's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, frustration mode. The number 1 podcast when you search anime podcasts has not one episode that you can listen to. They have nothing.
Wait, really?
Yeah, look it up. It's a joke. Like iTunes' algorithm is so busted. So.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, let's fight to get us to be the one that pops up first. Because then they got whoever finds us will have all the content ever.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and I don't think we should be behind a podcast that has literally not one episode you can listen to. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So help us out, guys. All right, we have a review here. It could be contentious. Let's see. Violet Evergarden, which is a Kyoto Animation Netflix exclusive, which basically means it's gonna be eye retina. It's gonna be eyeball meltingly beautiful, and I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we want to start there, we can start there, because I don't think, honestly, like this looked better than a lot of anime movies that have the budget.
I agree.
Like this, like everything had texture, everything had a shadow, everything moved smoothly, everything flowed in the wind.
I agree.
The nature looked beautiful, the backgrounds were full and detailed, like it was, and the eyes.
Gorgeous.
Oh my god, the eyes and the jewelry. It was
Ghibli-esque.
It was, dude, it was magic. I finished this a while back. I like rewatched some episodes today, and pressing play again today, I was like, damn, what the fuck? Like, this is so ridiculously good. Like, it shocked me again, and I already knew how good it was. So yeah, so I guess if you want to start about talking about that, like God. Look wise, it was beautiful. I also think the camera directing was very good too. I never felt a single like awkward frame for a dialogue being delivered. I actually think that the way the camera moved in the show was very fluid and made sense, and it cut when it had to cut, and there was never any fan servicey like shot like of Violet talking with the camera like on her skirt or some shit. I don't know. It was always really good. It emphasized a lot of good things while dialogue was being delivered for certain situations. So I think animation wise, pretty perfect. I don't know about you guys.
10 out of 10 on animation. Probably a Probably close to a 10 out of 10 on music. Also, maybe a
Yeah,
maybe a
music
9 out of
is
10 or an 8,
amazing.
maybe at least an 8 out of 10 on music. It was pretty. The music was pretty outstanding. You know, I mean, if Bebop is a 10 out of 10 on music, this is probably an 8. So
yeah, I would give it.
for me
I
at
would
least.
give it. I would give it a 9 solely on the fact that it wasn't very like. This is so nitpicky. Honestly, I would give it like a 9.5 out of 10. Honestly, but only because it wasn't anything really innovative. It was just really beautifully grand.
Right.
But aside from the like the OSTs that were used, that honestly were used with such like good nuance. Every scene felt full with the music, like with the animation and the music swelling together, everything felt really like full, like a complete package in every single scene. And then aside from the music, I think the sound design of this show was really clear. Like the way they mastered the sounds of each episode, super interesting, because I remember there's a specific moment in, I forgot what episode it is, but like
But do we want to give an explanation of what this anime is? We kind of skipped over that.
Sure, yeah, we can. I guess we just went into the art, but yeah, sound design is really good. I guess we can. Miss, Miss, this was your pick, I think.
Nope.
No.
Was it Heck and Kazuo's?
Probably Kazuo's.
So Violet Evergarden is a slice of life drama by, like you said, KyoAni, and it's was adapted from a light novel. It's a story about a child soldier who has gone or has only known war for her entire life, being reintroduced into a post-war world, and her emotional like reawakening. Takes place in like a fantasy world that has a bit of a steampunk vibe to it.
Totally.
And just before Violet's major, Gilbert, passes away during combat, he leaves her with the words, "I love you." And the story begins with Violet in a hospital recovering from wounds she suffered during battle. She lost both of her arms and is learning to use her new prosthetic, like metal hand replacements. And the war has actually ended during the course of her hospitalization, and her wounds have seen her medically discharged from military service. But so having no idea what to do with her life now, Violet decides to become an auto memories doll. Auto memory dolls are women who travel like around the world and write letters to people who cannot do so themselves. And through this profession, Violet hopes to learn what emotions are for the first time and what the words "I love you" actually meant.
Yeah. So quite literally, the anime, I mean, it's much more than that, but at the core of everything in the show, it is a journey of understanding the words "I love you," and it's done very beautifully, because I like to think that love is very complex. You know, like
what
the
is
word
love,
itself.
love?
What
Baby,
yeah,
don't hurt
what
me.
is love? What is love? Because love is such a grand thing, but it hurts so much. Like it's a very complicated thing, and I feel like there's several versions of love. There's love between parents. There's love between lovers. There's love between brothers. There's love between friends.
And a man and his ramen.
And a man and his bowl of ramen.
I mean,
that's
that is love.
That is love right there. But
love is a many splendid thing. Love, lift us up where we belong. All you need is love.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, and like to me, like a plot like this is such a great premise, but I always get nervous when like a really good premise is presented in the first episode, because I get worried that like it's gonna go all like generic anime writing and let me down. But sorry, I'm like very like gassy. I found the writing in this anime to be really, really, really good, like really perfect, because the plot moves along super organically, and then it takes you on like a journey in the middle, and then at the end it kind of wraps everything back to the beginning and reminds you of her past and everything. What do you guys think about the way the story unfolds in this anime?
Do you want me to go?
Sure.
I found this show to be very fascinating from start to finish. I found the idea of teaching someone how to cope with PTSD and leave the battlefield behind through writing out the emotions of other people to be very interesting. It is a bit of a like slow burn though when you first started off, because the first episode, episode 1 introduces us to the characters and leaves us with a little backstory on like who Violet is and what she hopes to accomplish. And then episodes 2 through 7 where I could see some people probably wanting to drop out because they're very episodic with each episode.
Super.
Having Violet go to a different house and write a letter for a client.
It's almost Kino Journey-esque.
Personally, I still found those extremely enjoyable for myself and very important to Violet's character, because each of those gives Violet a piece of herself back that she like is currently lacking. And from like regret to remorse to love to grief. And I felt that each of these episodes were important at putting Violet back together. And episodes 8 through 13 is where the story really starts to ramp up and bring Violet's past to a close. She confronts old memories using the emotions she has slowly started to piece back together from clients, as well as working with old like people that she knew during the war to bring down a rebellion. And overall, I thought I adored Violet as a character. Like I loved her character progression, seeing her transform from this like completely emotionless person who has a lot of difficulty empathizing with people and desires nothing more than just a mission.
Feelings.
Yeah. Into this like person who could freely let tears flow down her face was very rewarding for me.
And not even just tears, like like when she started smiling on her own, I thought that was huge. Yeah,
it's very heartwarming. So I really enjoyed the how the story progressed.
No, I agree with you there. I think 2 through 7, I do see how people that aren't, that don't or like naturally gravitate towards character driven slice, like this is kind of like slice, it's more drama, but like people that aren't driven towards like slow paced drama, like 2 through 7 is a challenge for them, for people that don't like it. But I invite you to keep going, because as Mandy said, these are all episodes that are fragments of Violet putting stuff back together. But it's and on top of that, it's also like all those things that Mandy mentioned are all like different aspects of what you will feel when you feel love. Like all these people that she goes to visit, they're all, or they're, whether they're hurting or they're writing for like a joyous reason, it's all at the root of it coming from the fact that like these people love this one person or thing, and then this one person or thing has been affected, and they need to write this letter to then express or invite or wrap up or put on hold something. So 2 through 7 is, I think, the emotional journey that Violet needs to go through to put herself back together, to have a like groundwork understanding of love and the aspects of love and the consequences of love before she goes out to the final arc of the show, which is where she, like you said, Mandy, she goes back to close out the loops of her past, when she is then, and it starts when she is then told that it's spoiler for her, but it's not spoiler for us. This in the first episode, that the that she finds out that the major did die during the war. And so that's what triggers her to have to like face her past on top of like new issues that come up. So that's not an easy thing to write well. A lot of animes go do this arc where like emotionless character, not in touch with their emotions, not open, not emotionally available, and then they go through like a hero, like a pseudo emotional hero's journey to then put themselves together and then face their old problems that led them to be emotionless in the first place. That is not a unique story. Like Violet Evergarden is not a fully unique story, but this is an example of execution that is done at such a high tier of skill and talent that it feels fresh and unique because it's done so well.
Sorry, I also want to mention that Violet Seiyu, Yui Ishikawa, also does Mikasa in Attack on Titan.
Whoa,
and I thought she did an excellent job at portraying like a emotionless character, but can still express intense emotions when called for. I thought she did a fantastic job.
For sure. Yeah, so that's my take. I think you and I far in line. But Mitsugi, where are you at with the story?
Well, here goes Mitsugi to ruin the party. So, this is, I'll just be honest. I'm always honest.
I mean, I don't want you to lie.
If I hadn't been watching this anime for the podcast, I would have dropped it by episode 3. I was so bored during it. I mean, like, I get it. I get every single thing about this anime. I watched the whole thing. I understand what it's about. In fact, I knew what it was about before I even watched it, because the amount of conversation that happened about it, like tons of things about it were spoiled for me. But I was intensely bored. In fact, I watched one episode of this. I made the mistake of watching an episode of this, and before episode 2 even started, I was asleep and I slept for 4 hours. That is not an exaggeration at all. I really did sleep for 4 hours, and that made finishing it before the podcast a huge difficulty. In fact, I finished it 10 minutes before we watched Hobby Addicts today. I was very bored. I don't know if I'm just not in the mood for cerebral anime lately, and that could be part of it. You know, like I used to really get a lot out of cerebral anime, like, you know, Habane Renmei. I used to do like deep dives on that, have conversations about what that was really about, et cetera, et cetera. But like watching Violet Evergarden, until episode 8, I was so bored. I mean, it was actually painful for me. And it didn't really help that, as far as I can tell, and feel free to shoot me down somewhere along the line here, but as far as I can tell, Violet and Kenshin are the same character. And I have a whole bunch of reasons why they're the same, and there's about 10 things that are identical about their characters. Number 1, they're both orphans.
Wait, why are you making this comparison in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
because like I looked at it and I'm like, I felt like I was watching Rurouni Kenshin. Like and in fact, I put a Twitter poll out. Like I said, I said, should we call it Violet Evergarden? Should we call it Violet? What was
is that why you asked that question?
Yeah, I was just curious. So I said, should we call it Violet Kenshin or Rurouni Evergarden?
I was very confused why you asked me that question.
I mean, I just think that there's a very clear comparison here. Like, so they're both orphans. They both entered into the military very young. They were both exceptional. Let me have my comparison.
I'm not questioning I just want to know, like why is this to like support the show or like this the show?
No, I just making an observation. I thought it was interesting how unbelievably similar the two characters were. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if the author of this manga had watched Rurouni Kenshin and took like deep inspiration from it. So they're both orphans. They both entered, and the comparisons are so clear throughout their entire characters that it's worth mentioning. I mean, they're both orphans. They both entered into the military very young. Both exceptional tools of war. They both lost a loved one in the war. They both have PTSD. They both pretty much live in the past, haunted by their demons. They both question if they're worth living, and they both try to atone for their crimes, but in different ways. Kenshin helps people, and Violet connects people through her letters. I mean, they're literally the same character. From start to end.
Everything you mentioned is pretty like similar for anybody who's been to war.
I would say it's a very, like, all these things are like, you know, like in the context of like the military thing is pretty unique, but like it's just a hero's journey, I guess. And but also like but at the core of their characters though, like Violet's emotional journey is not Kenshin's emotional journey, because she is very specifically out to understand what the words "I love you" mean.
Well, I mean, that's a very specific thing. I'm not diving into the very specifics of it, but they're very similar characters. I mean, I guess
they are though.
If you can
this is actually so weird. You pulled so many similarities that I don't disagree with.
I mean, like, if you can pull a bunch of other characters for me that follow that same exact start to finish trend line in their stories, then, you know, I agree. It's just a war story, but, you know, right down to like the fact that they were entered into war and were used as tools by other people from like ridiculously young ages. I mean, it's very similar. Anyway, I fully respect this anime. Like, I watched it and I'm thinking, I am so bored right now. Like, I didn't enjoy watching Violet Evergarden. I wasn't in the mood to think about it, and I don't find like What Is Love or PTSD to be exceptionally I don't relate to it, and I don't really find it to be all that thought-provoking personally, but like I respect the anime first of all for how incredibly well made it is. I mean, this might be the most well-made anime I've ever seen in my life for a series. Can you think of another show that looks and is assembled better than this one? I don't know. I don't know, honestly.
It doesn't exist. Rage of Bahamut kind of is the only one recently that looks amazing for a series, but this one is on its own league.
I think to myself, like, Is this what happens when the best animation studio in Japan combines with the added budget of being a Netflix property? And it could be. Like, this is just...
I think so. I
like,
really think so. I was gonna touch on that soon. Yeah.
It's like, hi, KyoAni. You already make the most beautiful shows, so this was already going to be the most beautiful show of the season. Oh, but here's another $20 million, and you can make it look even better. I mean, it's an anime series with a movie budget, right?
Yes.
And so
I believe
it looks and sounds undeniably like a masterpiece. Now, I think that whether or not you're going to like the show depends entirely upon, one, if you like episodic shows, which we all know I don't, and two, if you're into the subject matter, and which I wasn't, because I don't really relate to it. I mean, to me, this anime was a lot like Magus Bride. Looked beautiful, super gorgeous, but at the end of it, it was just too, there's, like, if you were to draw the, like, I know it's like, if I say this comment, someone's going to pipe in and go, and not necessarily you guys, but somebody will say, oh, well, it doesn't have to be exciting, but it's like, if you were to draw, like, the pacing of this anime on a piece of paper, it would be a completely straight line with no bumps or whatever at all. It's a 0.0 on the Richter scale from start to finish until you get to episode, like, 8 and maybe episode 11, where, like, there's some war scenes, and then, but other than that, like, it's a lot like Magus Bride, in which, like, it's like sort of a slice of life show that I just wasn't interested in it. And I don't know, there's no real reason for it other than the fact that I just didn't really feel like watching a show where all
you got your preferences, yeah.
This is why I don't watch the Monogatari anime, because I don't want to watch a show where they do nothing but talk. Like, I wasn't particularly interested in that. And so, like, it is what it is. I mean, so
I'm curious, what because, like, I think your review is completely valid, because, like, obviously, to each their own. If this could be a masterpiece and you could just not like it, that makes total sense to me. But I want to know, like, what do you need in this show for you to like it?
I need there to be more moments of. It needs to not be so one note the whole time. I mean, like, for me, it's like, oh, episode 8 had some action. Well, that's great, but, you know, episodes 1 through 7 was 65% of the show, and it was almost the exact same tone the whole time. Like, it's like listening to a lecture in college where the teacher just keeps going and going and going and never uses any inflection and never, does anything to engage the class, and you just sit there and you fall asleep while you're watching it. That's how it was for me. So, like, I guess, for lack of a better word, I wanted some more action beats. Maybe they should have spread the war scenes out a little more rather than just pounding me into the ground with, like, I'm going to sit here on this typewriter. And by the way, I don't fully understand their profession in this, because half the people that she worked for could read, because she would hold the letter out and say, is this good? So I'm like thinking, great. Well, if the person can't read, then they obviously can't write a letter. But she would like go, hi, can you read this? And he'd be like, oh yeah, that's great. And then I'm like, so basically you're there because you just, like, they're not good writers. You know, it would make a lot more sense to me if all her clients were missing their hands or couldn't see or were not able to read and write.
I see what you're saying.
But I'm like, her whole profession makes no sense to me, first of all. Not that that's the point of the show, because it's not.
Yeah. You said it. I think you said it yourself, though. It's not that people can't write. I'm sure they could, but it's the fact that these... I personally hate the fact that they're called dolls, personally, but these dolls are extremely good at writing. So I assume
that's one of my criticisms of it, is that there's a lot of stuff in the novel that they left out. The dolls does make sense if you dive into their past, because the dolls were, spoiler for a novel that isn't translated into English yet, they were originally like machines, and then after the war, women needed jobs, they took over.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, but that was one of my criticisms, is that they took that out.
See, that's cool. To me, that's cool. Damn, that would make the show even better to me.
It just didn't seem like her. I get that the profession that was chosen doesn't really matter in the scope of the show, but it didn't seem like a good fit for me. One, because I didn't really understand why that profession exists, and two, she would never have been allowed to be a, for lack of a better word, stenographer type job. You know, her whole job is like digesting someone's feelings and then understanding them and conveying them to paper, but she herself cannot understand emotions. So she 100% cannot do this job. Now, I get that, like, that's not important, and they had her do it so she could go on this journey, and she's, like, consuming the emotions of all these people and figuring it out as she goes. But, like, if you can't understand emotions, particularly love, then how can you work a job where your job is to write love letters and stuff for people? You can't do it. So, like, it was kind of, not that this is, again, important to the show's, like, concept, but it was kind of a convenient thing that she was able to be in this job in the first place because she would never be allowed to. In fact, so much so that she's referred to as a ningyo about every episode in this anime, which literally means a doll, like a doll that a little girl plays with on the floor in her living room, because she has no emotions. So, like, she acts like a doll, and they, to the point where children think she's not real, and, like, a person like that would never be allowed, would never be qualified to write emotional letters for people. It just, so I don't know, that kind of, I don't know, it's not that important, but that kind of bothered me throughout the whole course of the show.
I don't remember because I didn't watch the first episodes again. But was there a training montage in episode 2, Mandy?
They go through some training, and she fails because she can't write a letter the way she's supposed to, and then she writes a letter later and gets handed in later, and then they go back on her failure and end up passing her, like, later. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You guys know I'm not into anime like this lately, and I'm reviewing and scoring anime based on how much I like them, and I was bored.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I get everything about it. It's not like I'm missing the point. I totally get it. But
yeah, I'm not accusing you of missing the point either.
No,
I know you get it.
I know. I know. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. It was beautiful.
No, I get it because that's how people react when I say I don't like Your Lie in April. So, like, they're just like, but why? I'm just like, because it bored me and it made the pacing was off. I get it, but yeah, I mean, I think it's cool though that, like, even though like your preferences differ from like mine and Mandy's on this case, you're still able to say that you respect the show because you can realize how well it was made.
It's gonna get a decent score from me. It's just not gonna get a 5, which is what I think many people would give us a 5, and I'm like, well, I was bored, so I can't give it a 5, right?
Yeah,
but I still think it's a good show. Like, I mean, if someone asked me, I need a really cerebral show that is about, like, a person learning about themselves and learning, like, about emotions and becoming more of a complete person, I'm like, oh, here's a great show. It's friggin' gorgeous. You'll love it. It's called Violet Evergarden. You know? But, like, for the people that want to watch virtually anything else, I don't know that I would recommend this. So.
Yeah. Really quick, someone in the chat was like, why is a Violet the bionic arms? She lost. This is very easily mentioned in the show. She lost both her arms in the war. They got torn right off. Yep. Yeah. So. Oh, I just got. No, she's. This is someone in the chat asked. So she's a glorified receptionist. That is a very inept. Not to insult the fan, but like, she's more than that.
She's a cross between a stenographer and an author. I think they refer to her as a scribe. In the show.
Yeah, well, her job is like parallel to a scribe for sure, because like she even does go do scribe work at one point, if I remember right. She goes out to do scribe work at one point, like with the people at the observatory. Am I wrong?
I know she worked on a play. Which part are you talking about?
She goes to an observatory with a whole bunch of guys, and they have to transcribe.
Oh yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, damn, am I crazy? Yeah, that was months ago though, so that's why I'm like, shit, did I make that up?
Yeah.
But yeah. So okay, so I guess like that's like a very general overview of the story. I think another strong point of the show is pretty much it's Violet as a character and her being, you know, the main vessel of the show. But what I think makes the show super full is all the supporting characters, because for everything Violet lacks, they all have semblances of these emotions that she learns from them. And this includes all the people that she has as clients and all the people that just that she meets just along the way. I think, and that's why I want to put more emphasis on the fact that this anime was written so well, because it is kind of not a small cast of characters, even though you're with Violet the whole time. Um, every character that she, talks to, encounters, and has to think about, they all seemed really, really nicely they all seem really nicely fleshed out, like design wise, voice wise, dialogue wise. Everyone seems smart. No one seems stupid in this fucking show, which is really refreshing to me. No one seems stupid in the show. Everyone seemed like they were competent human beings, aside from the fact that a lot of them don't know how to write well. But I think the cast was done a lot of justice in the show. I think they all shine when they need to shine. And then Violet sits atop that, because I think yes, like characters like Ray from NGE are becoming common since Ray from NGE, but I think in this case it's done to a very masterful degree.
Mm-hmm.
I would have picked a different profession for her. I mean, it was very convenient that she was allowed to do this job, and I get it. Like, it was basically there to progress the plot line.
It's a favor, though. I mean, she ends up at the job because it's a favor that was promised.
But it's stupid. Because a person that understands no emotions at all cannot write emotional letters for other people. Period. End of story. That's like saying, I'm gonna go work in India, but I don't speak. Or I gotta pick a better country that doesn't speak English. I'm gonna go work in Brazil, but I don't speak Portuguese. Like, well, you can't do it. So sorry. You're right. So I don't know. I just, that really annoyed me. Like, this, it's like she can't understand emotions from the beginning, and that's a huge part of the anime. But yet she's able to perform these job functions as if she understands emotions. So it's a contradiction there, and I didn't appreciate that for most of the show. I get that. I get why they did it. That it was a ship she was sailing on that took her from port to port, and every port was a different emotions as she learned more about herself and about her past and all this. But, like, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, you wish she wouldn't be able to do the job. Pick a different job. Pick something different.
You definitely have you have an argument there for sure, but so, like, the thing is, like, I guess, like, well, I think I think a big reason as to why she works there is the favor that was promised to the major. But I also think that because, like, yes, she's emotionless, but she is able to still communicate well with people, and she asks questions when she needs to ask questions. So it's not like she's like obviously she, and this develops throughout the show, but she is able to understand feelings. So that's why she's not completely clueless. She's not like an actual robot that is out to understand emotion. She is a human being with a heart that has emotions inside of it. She's just out there, like, kind of understanding it as it's happening inside of her at the same time.
Well,
but you have an argument, though, because it is a little bit, it was pretty convenient that she was just able to be really good off the bat.
Anyway, I don't have much more to say. I liked the war scenes. I thought they were compelling.
Me too. I like a lot of the scenes where they're, like, planning strategies and stuff.
I did find it odd that, like, a grown adult who's a major in the military falls in love with a 12-year-old, but that might be beyond the point also.
What was his age? I don't even know his age.
He's a major in the military, so I'm assuming he's an adult.
Yeah, but during war times, a lot of people, the structure can shift suddenly to, like, fit the needs of the war.
Well, I guess if she was 14, right? At as the time
she
the
was
show's happening, which means I basically backed her up a year and called her 13 during the war. We'll just say that, but I don't know. Whatever, it's anime. I mean, for all I know, every soldier in that army was 10 years old. I don't know.
Something else that just like a personal thing I liked was the Victorian flair of the show.
Yes, the architecture was very nice.
The architecture was so cool. Architecture was super cool. All the transit they used was really cool. And the aesthetics of the culture of the people in the show was awesome. Yeah, character design in this anime was super good.
It's an aesthetic masterpiece. I mean, it's just
it's an aesthetic masterpiece for sure. And I actually, because this is my second time watching a couple episodes, I actually watched the English dub, and the dub pretty good, like pretty fucking good.
Well, Netflix
pretty good.
Probably did it. So
yes, it's dubbed in like 5 languages, dude. I love it. Yeah, it was done pretty well, and yeah, I also don't have much more to say. I really think this anime did way more up and above what like other anime have been doing like in the past year in terms of like animation design, writing, music, sound design, directing, all of that. They did it super well.
It would have won some Academy Awards probably.
Yeah, I wanted to win, and I wanted to sell too. I hope people watch it. But yeah, Mandy, I'm sure you have some final thoughts too.
Oh, yeah, I was just waiting to give my final thoughts because I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say before my wrap up.
Yeah, I think we're in final thoughts mode.
The only like criticisms I have, because I also didn't think it was 100% perfect. I really did enjoy it a lot, but like I mentioned before, I think I would have liked if they gave some backstory to the dolls and where they came from. Although, just also like Becom said in the chat, the novel had some really questionable stuff in it. So I am also happy that they focused more on Violet and made it her like personal story. But I also kind of wanted to know more about the world. Like, am I alone in thinking that it didn't really dive into much of like the politics around what was going on, what caused the war?
Only it was sprinkled throughout the dialogue. They gave you
a little bit of sprinklings, but I still didn't think it was enough for me to grasp
13
all
episodes,
of it.
Though. 13 episodes.
Yeah. So I was like, I still would have liked that. And I don't know. I still feel like there was some side characters that they built up and then kind of pushed to the back. And I don't know. I think I would have liked to see more of them. But to give my overall thoughts, I thought Violet Evergarden was a very powerful and poignant show for me. I really enjoyed Violet. I liked her backstory. I gave her sufficient reason for how she is at the start of the show. And I like watching her grow and acclimate herself back into this peaceful world. And it kept my interest throughout the entire 13 episodes. And I always think it's important to give different mental illness issues, disorders, anything like that, a representation, because it makes us aware that these things exist and educate us on how they affect the lives of some people who suffer from them. And although this was a fantasy, I still thought it portrayed PTSD in a very delicate and clever way of showing us how someone who suffers from PTSD views the world and difficulties they face when trying to readjust and come home from the war. So I think one of the best ways to learn empathy and love is to put yourself into someone else's shoes and relating to another, like through your own imperfections. And you can't experience someone's pain if you just look at them on like a superficial level, which I think also why they had her with like robotic arms, but or like metal hands. But so yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. It left me feeling this was a very positive message. Everybody was supportive of her, and I thought that was really nice. And I was also strongly attached to episode 10. It gave me it hit me in a very personal way. So that was the one with the mother who was
oh dude, fuck me.
Yeah, the mother episode. Shit. I don't want to give too many spoilers.
Oh
but
my god, that fucked me up good. I watched it. That's one of the ones I watched.
It was very sweet, and it was my favorite, shit. I think, of the entire series. But
I'm definitely gonna do that. I want to do that in the future for sure.
So I didn't think it was 100% perfect, but I still thought it was a very beautiful and strong show, and it's been one of my favorites so far of this year. And I'm gonna give it 4.5.
Yeah.
Right. I'll go next.
Okay.
For me, I think that this is a show you can't deny the aesthetics. They're, I mean, holy shit. If only this is what I fantasize about when I say if only we could have half the anime we have every season. My fantasy is like, oh, suddenly a whole bunch of shows look like this. I know that's not true, but like it would push us in that direction.
That's the dream, though. Mm-hmm.
It would push us in that direction, So this is like, maybe a small taste of that, or of what Netflix can do when they hurdle a massive truckload of money at a company. For me, I think when people watch this show, the distinguishing factor on whether or not they like it or not, I think is just whether or not they're able to connect with it emotionally, or if they're in the right mindset for the emotions. Because so many of the things in the anime are done to perfection that it's almost impossible to deny that things like the character designs, the music, the world building, the art, the animation, all of that is just everything you could possibly want in an anime. But I think that, like, if you were to show this to somebody who just doesn't relate to PTSD at all or isn't interested in the subject matter, there's no possible way they're going to like it. And that's no fault of the anime. The anime has an objective. And, you know, I think they stuck to it. I think they stuck to the objective. And, but like, and I actually don't think I was entirely one of those people, because, like, I totally understand the concepts and all that. But at the same time, the pacing was a little tough for me. For me, I think it would have been a lot easier to digest if we had maybe 4 or 5 episodes that had war flashbacks and that they were more evenly interspersed throughout the show. Rather than, because like by episode 6, a person thinks, this is all this show is. She's just going to go from place to place, you know, typing for people that, quite frankly, could probably type stories for themselves and letters for themselves for the most part. And, you know, you wonder to yourself, is this all there is? So I'm sure that there's a lot of people that probably dropped this before they even got to the halfway point. And like I said, I would have probably been one of those people had I not needed to review for the podcast. But I'm also not blind to the quality of the show. But but for me, I went back and I checked to see what I gave Mahotsukai no Yome, because this anime, to me, the way that I perceived it, felt very similar. Beautiful show, fantasy setting, but just don't really relate to a lot of the content. And so I looked that score up and I gave that show a 7 out of 10. So I'm going to give out Evergarden a 3.5. 3.5 metal hands that get ripped apart out of 5. Because it can't get lower than a 3.5 because it's a friggin' aesthetic masterpiece. And it would probably win like 5 Academy Awards, to be honest. Done.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm leaning more towards, like, I think I am someone who is the demographic for this show. I seek out emotional journey. I think, you know, stories that, you know, are not stories that are out to capture, like, humans in their essence, which to me is like our soul and our emotional state, are what interests me the most in, like, storytelling. I always the reason I like slice of life as like one of my main genres of anime is because it's one of the genres that takes this medium on a path to just stick to the stories in the mundane human life. And although this one isn't mundane, it's a drama that takes the path to stay to a story that is very human. In the end, Violet just wants to know what the words "I love you" mean. And I'm someone that's very blessed with people that, you know, care about me a lot in my life. My parents love me to death. My friends love me a lot too, and I love them as much, even more. I have friends that love me as well. I said that already. And yeah, my dog loves me. Yeah. So like I love you guys too. And I realize that I'm like very, very, you know, blessed and lucky to have this. So because I sit in a place where, like, I have these things put together and I'm someone that's very much able to show affection and love, I can relate in a sense of like in a sense of like putting myself in an opposite position where I imagine like what life is if I don't have these things. And whenever I think about that, it's very lonely. I get really sad really fast when I think about the fact that, like, what if my life like gave me the opportunity to meet all these people, but then like I didn't understand how to love, or like I didn't understand how to accept love. It changes my life drastically. So when I watch a show like this where the main topic is I am someone who can't feel emotion, and someone told me they loved me, and I don't know what that means. You have me. Like, I'm in. Like, I'm gonna watch the whole thing, because that premise, objectively is good, but then for me it adds it's a little bit more weight, because it's something that I think about a lot when I reevaluate where I am. So I think it was written really well. I think the story, yes, it's episodic, but it's written so consistently where it doesn't feel very episodic. And like the dialogue is so organic and smooth that when Violet leaves, it always feels like a release. It never feels like a what the fuck. It feels like release. So when she gets her new job, it feels like rising action again, to then climax, to then release again. And that's incredible that they have arcs so organically laid out in every episode of those beginning 8. So that when you get to the final arc is when you finally have a climax that's spread out throughout like multiple episodes, and that's masterful to me. I think that's really well done. And again, beating a dead horse, but like it is beautiful. It is beautiful. The show is beautiful. So
it is gorgeous.
To me, the show's a 5 out of 5. It is 5 letters to my future kid out of 5. I've loved this fucking show. It's really good.
Right, so Violet Evergarden gets a 4.5, which I think is good.
Yeah, I think that's good too.
It's a fair score. Cool. Well, we're really, really long, so let's just jump straight to mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. If you want to submit a mailbag, do it on our website, AAAPodcast.com. It's right next to the button that lets you sign up for our extra content and also join the Discord, so it's easy to find. I'm going to blaze through this first one. Icy Rose writes, hello, AAA hosts. So Thunderbolt Fantasy was a Taiwanese puppet show that aired on Crunchyroll as part of the summer 2016 anime season and got voted in through the Listener's Choice poll, and Mitsuki ended up being the only one who reviewed it and gave it a 4. With a second season coming for the series, would the podcast consider doing impressions for it when the second season airs, even though it's technically not anime, so it doesn't appear on sites like Mao, whatever, blah, blah, blah? I say yes, why not? We set the precedent.
Yeah, I'd try it.
Next mailbag.
You want me to do it?
If you would like to, I would love that.
This is from McNeary. Nira Sugum. It means I don't know Gaelic, so wondering if there's any anime about Gaelic or Latin.
No idea.
Not about Gaelic, but there are ones with Celtic influences, like Ancient Magus Bride has a lot of Celtic mythology in it, Tears of Tiara. And there's a manga called Shularun, which has a lot of Gaelic, Celtic stuff in it. I don't know about Latin, though, unfortunately.
There's a manga, or there's an anime about a man who builds Roman architecture called Thermae Romae, THERMAE Haven't seen that, but you might want to look that up. Also, I found a website that has 10 notable examples of Irish/Celtic music and anime. And those are the 12 Kingdoms has a song called Fushun that has it. The Borrowers are Adieti, Victorian Romance, Emma Act, Second Act, My Otome, Some Days Dreamers, Turn A Gundam, Kemono no Soja Eren, Fairy Tale, Oh My Goddess, the TV series, da. All of these have some kind of Irish/Celtic influence in their music. Celt what?
Celty.
Oh, Celty. Yeah.
Da.
With the fun helmet. I think this next one's yours, my man.
Oh yeah. The next one is from Curious Yellow Subaru. That's a cool name. And it reads, keep up the great job, loving the show. If you could be an anime character of the opposite sex, whom would it be? What are some of the things you would like to do as that character? And how long would you stand naked in front of a mirror? Oh, he's assuming a lot there. Oh, goddamn. I don't know.
I would
be honest with us. Come on.
I would be a vampire or succubus probably, and spend my time going around at night biting and spreading my sickness and being a damn sexy succubus while I'm doing it. And I'd spend a long ass time in front of the mirror.
This is a perfect question for my go-to. I would totally be Nana. Dude, what? I'd be a cool ass girl and fucking playing shows and shit. Yeah, sign me up.
Okay, first, realistically, I'd be Hirotaka from Otakucop because just put some boy parts on me and get rid of the smoking habit, and that's it. We're basically the same person. I just live my life normally, like how I do now. But secondly, I don't want to be an anime character. I want to be Momoto Miyano, and I'd be fucking beautiful, and I'd use my good looks for evil.
You're already beautiful.
Uh-huh.
But how long would you stand in front of a mirror?
Such a beautiful man.
I would
wonder
stand
how
in front
often
of a
he looks in
mirror.
the mirror and just goes, damn.
Damn. If I was Nana, I honestly wouldn't look at myself in the mirror too often, unless you count putting makeup on, because she spends a lot of time doing that.
I barely even own a mirror, period. So, all right, guys, we're at the end. Very long episode. I'm sure you all loved that, no doubt. If you want to sign up for all of our extra content, you can do it at our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. Again, we have a real-life police officer coming on the podcast in just a moment to do a hentai episode to talk about what really happens behind the closed doors of the world of true crime. So that'll be interesting for you guys. We're also going to be doing we did a Hobby Addicts today on the World Cup. So I hope you continue to enjoy the different types of things that we're interested in outside of anime podcasting. And of course, remember on iTunes, you can help us conquer all these other podcasts that never post any content by subscribing to help us be number one. So I would love that. That would be like
number one, please.
My birthday's coming up soon. That would be a great birthday present. And I love you all. We'll see you next week.
See ya. I love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.